2026 reorganization meeting. Can we get a motion?
Yeah, motion to approve the December 9th and January 5th meeting minutes. We have a first.
I'll second.
We have a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes. Okay, we have something in communications. We have a public hearing for our Green Acres project for the park development in West Rancocas. We have our engineer firm here, ERI, Mr. Neil Weckert. Neil, will you begin?
Yeah.
Your presentation?
Yep.
And then we'll open up, after Neil's done, then we'll open up for public for questions.
My name's Neil Wolford. I am a licensed landscape architect in the state of New Jersey. I work. Turn the mic on.
Mike's on.
It's on.
My name's Neil Workett. I'm a licensed landscape architect in the state of New Jersey. I work for environmental resolutions. I've been working on the concept plan for the downtown parking lot conversion. And I brought aboard just illustrating the proposed improvements. Hard for everyone to see that.
Yeah, I think we got a
Yeah,
copy of
Yeah.
it, but I would say, why don't you
Yeah.
bring it closer to the
Yeah,
public
bring it
and
closer
see
to
it?
the-
Okay.
That's the same one that was online.
This is the same one that is online, yes. Alright, so this location is located in the downtown area in between Commerce Place and Park Drive. It's situated between and Rancocas Creek. It's to the southwest of Main Street and to the north of High Street and to the northwest of the plan is the county courthouse building. It's located on a site that's currently a parking lot. Shin Family Cabin is right here. Here, let me put that on. It's right there. We have currently, the site is a parking lot. There's a landscape island in the center of the parking lot. There's a series of trees along Rancocas Creek here. And then there's a few trees scattered along the south side of the parking lot, as well as in the parking lot islands and a couple other locations. The proposal for the park improvement here is to remove all the impervious asphalt and replace it with a new open space park. The idea behind the layout and the reconfiguration of the park was, I was trying to pull inspiration from the millstones that is located adjacent to the Shin Family Cabin, with the pinwheels and the pathways coming in, leading into the center of the park area. The park area, the center of the park would have a flagpole. We're incorporating some additional pavers in front of a new pavilion for concerts or any sort of outdoor activity or, sorry, I said concert. So any sort of gathering or area where at some point in time you would need a large flat surface to provide tents or tents or, you know, food vendors or any sort of outdoor events. We have the existing, or the proposed kayak launch, which is located off of Rancocas Creek. That was proposed to have a boardwalk down to a floating boardwalk with a gangway plank, and that would be accessible. That's really not part of this proposed concept plan for the overall Green Acres application. This project has already been approved, but that would tie into the Family Shin Cabin, making the Family Shin Cabin accessible. We would provide a boardwalk up to the two doors that are currently on the north side of the Shin family cabin, along with steps that lead down to a sidewalk that comes into the overall central portion of the park. The park is proposed to have site lighting around the entire area of the park for security and visibility during the evenings. We also have a new ramp that would come off the pedestrian bridge from behind the, I guess, businesses along Main Street. I forget what the name of the pedestrian bridge is, but right along there. We would make stormwater management improvements. The way that the site's currently graded, you have a high point in the west side of the site, and that travels down to the east side of the site, where you have the lowest portion of the parking lot is over by this type E inlet, and then this discharges into the Rancocas Creek here.
Type E inlet that close to the creek?
Yes,
That's feasible?
there's a B inlet right there currently.
Okay.
So essentially,
In the flood zone. In the
Can we hold audience questions until he's finished his
Okay.
presentation, and I'll open it up
Make
for
sure.
questions.
yeah. So there's currently a B inlet in this location. There's also storm pipes that run down through the site from the B inlet here, all the way down to this location here, and then there's a head wall structure right there at that location there. So we're proposing overflow structure in each of the four corners on the site, with the high point of the site now being where the flagpole would be, and a portion of the site would drain to the lower right, the upper right, the upper left, and the lower left there. That would include native plantings that are tolerant and will tolerate wet feet. And we would incorporate new landscaping around the perimeter edge of the entire park itself. I know that there was a couple questions in regards to some of the X's on the plan itself. So along the Rancocas Creek itself, there's a series of red X's. There's currently some existing dead trees that are in those locations that are proposed to be removed as part of the proposed improvements. And then there's 4 existing ornamental trees that are currently on site that would also be removed that are live. I think for the most part, that's pretty much it. We would make additional connections into the adjacent existing sidewalks that are coming into the site. We would replace some of the existing sidewalks that are coming into the site. Along Commerce Place, we would drop in a new B inlet in this location here, or actually right there. This is currently the low point of the existing area. And then that would tie into an existing B inlet that's located right there. And then that would continue out to the reconstructed manhole, and then there's a outfall structure right there within the bank at Rancocas Creek as well. That's pretty much it for the proposed improvements.
Okay. Thank you, Neil.
You're welcome.
Now, I'm gonna open this up for the public to make comments in regards to this project only. Or do we have any comments from the public? All right, step to the mic, sir. First row.
Good, Mike.
Yeah.
Nick Sedano, 47 Garden Street. I want to thank you for this. Very much in favor of state money coming in and help us out. But I do have some issues, questions. First is just a comment, okay? We don't need another flagpole. We got enough municipal flagpoles in Mount Holly, okay? 86 the flagpole. Also, there's way too many access sidewalks into the central portion. Don't need them, okay? If you want to reduce the amount of impervious surface, why are we doing this? I don't get that. And then the design of a pinwheel, that just does zero for me. Get rid of that. Question, with the actual materials that you're using for paving, is that impervious like concrete or just tight, like brick? Or is it more impervious designs? That's a question.
So, most of the sidewalks were proposed to be concrete for durability purposes. Because we are located within a historic area, we are going to be required to go before the State Historic Preservation Office. So we have to fit with the historic context of the area itself. And they'll give us certain parameters which we can follow and abide by. With the pavers themselves, it was not anticipated for them to be porous or pervious pavers. Primarily because the water table here is very shallow, so we don't have a lot of coverage or depth to the seasonal high water table.
Okay, understood. I still think you should get rid of them. The other question I had, which admittedly I don't understand what your plan is, but looking at the diagram, I'll call it.
Yep.
It looks like the initial diagram had a welcome area / historical exhibit space. There were like 2 of them, and they're gone now.
Yes.
So does that mean they're gone?
Well, the ones that are there would stay, but it's
You
something
mean the
that
one that's there?
The one that's there. We
Okay.
could incorporate additional ones, interpretive signs, historical
Okay,
preservation,
understood, so it's
signs
gone.
In order to incorporate that.
Thank you.
and bring it.
The suggestion I've had for a long time, which seems to fall on deaf ears, is that we've had multiple iterations of paving over the years, and I mean over the centuries, and I just did an article recently on a street where we did some excavation, and the old Riverstone came up that used to be our paving. I've actually acquired some of that, and I dropped it off literally at this site. There's maybe, I don't know, 15 square feet or 20 square feet of that stuff, but we can get more. I think that would be a really cool historical exhibit, just for your knowledge that they exist, and there's more available. I know there is. Like, you don't even have to excavate. It's at the municipal facility on Pearl Avenue. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to comment on this?
Jim Logan, 16 Eastlake, Wilmington, New Jersey. I'm just wondering, why you chose the design that you did when the flagpole and the design of the park is redundant, considering the design of Veterans Park in the house. Was there a reason for that? Why you wanted to design almost an identical park? Also deciding where the location of this park. It's in a flood zone. What about the new type B and type E inlets is not gonna flood when these type B inlets that we currently have currently flood?
Yes, that is,
It's gonna flood.
we are aware.
So it's gonna flood.
The site is located within a flood hazard area.
So you admit that this park will flood,
Yeah,
and it's gonna get destroyed at times because of the floods, correct?
potentially, yes.
Yes, it will. Also, the kayak launch. Why are we putting a kayak launch on the Oxbow when we know that the Oxbow needs to be dredged? It is not a spot where kayaks and canoes can even go. They have to bypass the Oxbow and go down the other side of the creek. So why are we putting a kayak launch there, other than the fact that Vince, that owns Village Idiot, wants the kayak launch there, because he has his business and a residence there? Can you comment on that? I don't think so. Thank you.
Randy Roswell, 33 Union Street. I have a few questions on the project. One, this money that you're getting for this part of this project is Green Acres money, is that correct? Okay. So I assume that then this area will then be added to our Rossi?
Correct.
Okay. So it'll be preserved from here on out as
Yes.
open space, okay. On the environmental assessment, piece that I read, it mentions that in there, you would actually be installing bioretention areas, basically rainwater. Those are the storage areas on the side. And how, I'm all for rainwater, I do that, part of my job. But as you already mentioned, it has a high seasonal water table.
Correct.
How are these actually gonna function as rainwaters when you're not gonna get the infiltration?
Well, and that's one of the things that we were looking at initially, right? So is, because of the shallow water table, it's hard to make them function as state-approved BMPs.
Right.
Essentially, the way that we can deal with that is, improving the soils that are there on site. I know that the site potentially contains historic fill, and I know during some of the soil borings that we did perform, the soil conditions aren't great. So you can replace some of the existing soils that are there, but you incorporate new water tolerant plant species, which should help take up some of that water as well.
Okay, all right, and also, I guess, is some of the other funding is coming from the, 2022, grant that got from DEP, that in there is for stormwater management, and all, is part of that, at least what I originally read, was that you were gonna be removing the impervious cover there, and replacing it with, permeable pavement, like concrete or whatever, so that you're now using regular concrete, you're not gonna be using permeable, walkways?
Well, we're gonna finalize the overall materials once we get further along and get it approved. Right now, we have a current reduction of 16,600 square feet of existing impervious.
Okay.
So according to the stormwater regulations and requirements, it's not necessary to put in new porous pavers, because we're exceeding that, but we will take that into consideration. One of the other thoughts that we had, instead of the porous pavers or pavers, was to use a product called Razocrete, which is also porous, and then you have a stormwater capacity to it. But that does, we'll have to see how it works with the stormwater regs and make sure that we can do it that way.
Okay. So I guess you've done, since this is really just a concept, I'm just wondering, have you done like the, actual, calculations of how much impact this will have as far as reduction of stormwater runoff, as far as how much it'll capture, stormwater?
I have not done that calculation.
Or how much, pollutant load will be reduced as far as, suspended solids or, nitrogen or phosphate, this calculation
we
probably
haven't-
have not done,
no,
because you
we
don't have the
haven't done those
engineering tools, okay.
calculations.
Is any part of, I mean, I agree with all the other comments I had before, I think there's still too much paving on there, it's definitely not, there's gonna be a green space, it should be a green space, you don't need to have all this pavement all around it, the previous comments that I've already mentioned, I do agree with. Does any piece of this project actually involve restoring the actual, banks of the creek, because they are eroded, there's, is any bank restoration, erosion control, are we gonna be moving any of the invasives along the bank, and putting in, native plants, like improving the riparian buffer, basically? And because it's a regulated waterway, in theory, you should have a minimum of 50-foot riparian buffer for the regulated waterways.
The riparian buffer is actually greater than 50 feet in this location. It actually,
Really?
it ends up falling,
It's hard to
the
believe.
riparian buffer ends up falling right back in here.
Okay,
So it's closer to the cabin than anywhere else on site. So the riparian buffer is all the way back into there, right? So typically what happens with stormwater and the DEP regulations, you're required to do mitigation if you're disturbing existing vegetation, which is not necessarily anticipated as part of this project, with the exception of the additional trees. But we are, as you can see, there's an extensive amount of landscaping that's going back in to the site to account for some of those mitigation issues.
but you're not gonna be replacing those trees, you don't expect to plant any additional trees to replace those trees that are?
We are planning on replacing the trees that we're taking out, but there are going to be additional trees put back.
Okay, and so, but there's no action plan for restoration, because you're talking about even the stormwater that's still going outflowing into the creek, and there's probably a lot of scoring and everything going on coming out of those pipes into the creek already, it's causing erosion, which is causing, or it's making it shallower, which making unable to actually kayak in the creek, so it's a compounding issue. So you need to address those concerns also and fix those problems. And it's not, I know there's just one small section, I mean, the ox goes all the way around the parking lot in that area, so
Right.
this type of restoration along the entire area of the Oxbow is needed, not just in this one small section. So I mean, I know it's not beyond the scope of this grant, but that's something that needs to be done, otherwise it's not gonna have a, you know, an effect to the entire waterway system, if you just do one tiny little piece without considering it, the whole thing as a part of the whole system. Okay, that's my, and obviously you already mentioned, you know, it's in a floodplain, you know, it's in a floodplain. I have a nice little flood mapper map that I got from New Jersey Flood Mapper that shows that it's in a 100-year floodplain, and this is without considering climate change and, sea level rise, so essentially everything, with the new, inland flood control plans, even the orange area here is gonna be that, you know, the whole thing's gonna be a 100-year flood, as you are probably more than aware of, so, thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Thank you.
John Anderson, 16 Growing Street, Mount Holly. John, the button on? Just a little bit of button. There you go. There we go. John Anderson, 16 Growing Street, Mount Holly. I own the kayak river here in town, and for the last 8 years, 90% of the people who come in kayaking in town ask the same thing: how can they access downtown Mount Holly? That site is good. It's a good site. The creek has to be maintained because it's silting up and shoaling up. You need to kind of figure out how to resolve that issue. You need to have handicap access to this site, but it's actually a pretty good site for a kayak launch. So you have to let them be looking forward to seeing this whole come together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Yep.
Testing. Michael Rothbell, 33 Union Street. I appreciate the plan a lot. It's good that we're gonna turn a parking lot into a park. That's a very good idea. But I have, you know, a couple of concerns. I think they've been brought up. One, it definitely appears there's too much paving there. I mean, it's gonna be passive recreation. I'm thinking people playing frisbee and putting out blankets to picnic. That's not like, and all that paving is just gonna get in the way. It should be greatly reduced. And then I think it also should be permeable. If it's in a floodplain, the concrete should gonna run off, and permeable paving makes a lot more sense. Also, you know, the kayak launch is a good idea. But I think one thing the town lacks, I think, is a vision. I know we still don't have a full master plan. One of the master plan amendments they talked about was the creek is a great resource for kayaking. If you're gonna do this, you have to talk about doing this in the context of fixing the swale thing at the end of the Oxbow, I forget what the dam thing, that, goes up and down. That has to be fixed. And the Oxbow has to be dredged. So you actually make this park a reasonable place to access Rancocas Creek and make it a destination for kayakers. Also, I agree, there's no need for a flagpole. It should be like, it's a place for passive recreation. I'm thinking that people play frisbee and things like that. I don't know the need for an amphitheater, but, that's, you know, I don't know if that's gonna, again, take up too much non-permeable space and just make it, you know, another, make it a non-park area. So I think that's important to consider. So, I guess in summary, we have to look at the whole area, including like dredging the Oxbow and fixing that drainage area. No flagpole, permeable sidewalks, and less sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff Eversmeyer, 203 Broad Street. I'm sorry I came a little late, I didn't know quite what we were building, but this amphitheater, there's one thing that confuses me. We just spent $200,000 on a portable stage that could be set up within hours from the UEZ funds. So why are we building an amphitheater when we have something that we can move all around town and set up anywhere we want at any location? That's the first question, and I guess we came across a lot of money. I don't know what this is gonna cost, this project. Is there a number out there of what it's gonna cost to do this project?
Yeah,
1.2
it's about
million?
1.2 million.
For park.
And so is so I think it's misunderstood exactly, it's not necessarily an amphitheater, it's a pavilion with a concrete pad. So it can allow for multi-use and it's multi-purpose, it's not necessarily a built-in.
Well, you can put this portable stage that we just spent $200,000 of our UEZ money and put it anywhere on any, we can put it in the parking
Absolutely,
lot.
you could put it under the pavilion.
And save whatever money we're spending, and then I don't understand why we must have come across a lot of money. Is this money coming out of the township, or is this coming from grants? Grant. My question is, we got how many hundreds of thousands of dollars for grants for this park that's behind here? That took years to build? How many hundreds of thousands did we get? Josh probably remembers, because he was around.
$2 million.
We got $2 million back there for this park, which didn't get built for a long time because we were building a firehouse.
No, it didn't get built because we were waiting for the deal.
Okay, so anyway, we spent $2 million. Well, I did look at the park, it's actually amazing that we spent $2 million there. And yet we put no money into the park, maintaining it. So it was actually, I came down with my son and my grandkids, I've been to that park before, it was so great and nice. I came down recently, and everybody knows, I walked in that park's in disarray. The revolving stuff doesn't work. But it doesn't flood there.
Jeff,
Yeah, go ahead.
can you keep your comments to this particular project and then
Okay.
save that for the public portion?
Okay, so why are we spending money building another park for $2 million when we don't maintain the park that we've already got? And the other thing is, I guess we came across a lot of money because our township collects $100,000 in rent from the county for parking down there. So we're removing the parking lot, so we're losing $100,000 in income?
No.
No?
You're incorrect.
Do we not get money from the township, the county anymore?
Not that parking lot.
Not that much?
Not that parking lot.
We don't, they don't
That
use
parking lot is not included, Jeff. Jeff, keep your.
I'm asking questions, because I don't know, because I've never seen this plan before.
Okay,
So I'd like to know what it is.
that's the whole point why we're having a public hearing. So,
And that's
do you
why I
have,
meant-
Jeff, do you have any more questions in regards to this particular project?
Yeah, why are we building it? Who picked this location? Was it the town council? Who picked the location as the best place to put this park instead of somewhere else?
Well, do you have any other idea where you wanna put it?
How about we expand on the park that's here, it's underutilized, it's not in the.
That still has another phase going through, so.
Well, why don't we do that phase first before we go in the flood zone? And as you guys don't know, you can't use canoes in that area. You can't launch them. And if you don't have that plan as to dredging that oxbow, you're getting anybody who's gonna use that park for kayaks. But, and you guys probably don't even know this, because John Anderson tried to get interested in purchasing my property, because it has access to the creek and 2 acres of land, and it doesn't have to be dredged. It doesn't have to be dredged. You can take that kayak all the way down to Philadelphia. So you're looking at another spot, that's a spot that's sitting there vacant, and nobody's ever approached me. Actually, I think my property was appraised about 10 years ago without my knowledge to purchase that property. But I never knew about it until Bob Silcox gave me a call. So this is probably before your time, but I think Josh might remember it. So anyway, it's kind of curious as to why we're doing the things we do and spending the money we are and building something in an area that doesn't work. My building's flooded 3 times, every 10 years my building's flooded. And that parking lot is underwater, has been underwater 3 times in 10 years. And we're gonna spend them $2 million or $1 million down there in an area with no floods, and you can't access the creek.
Thank you, Jeff.
Happy Monday. Maureen Taylor Ford, 117 Grand Street. As a concerned citizen that I am, and I'm looking at this, I am all for parks, oh my God. But, I do street outreach, I walk a lot of blocks. So I guess my concern is, as I'm listening to my neighbors talk about this, the sidewalk and all these, walkways, are the walkways there for stability to hold up the rest of the land? Because if you're in a flood zone, hypothetically, right, you're in a flood zone, you would need something to secure the grass so it doesn't cave. I'm not an engineer, but I'm just wondering, is that the revelation that you have this circle with all these lines? Is this just to hold up the grassy parts from when you do flood, which you already said you're gonna flood? And I'm having issues with my house that said it wasn't a flood zone, but the water tables are changing. And from what I understand from a percolation test, the water tables change every 7 to 10 years. So something that may have not been above, the table is now below the table. So I'm just curious about the side, because people have been talking about the sidewalk. So when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, well, you know, I'm looking, then it says here you have a vegetation indentation, the brick, the layers, I mean, bricks itself are gonna have more damage, it's just gonna be a big mess eventually when it floods, because you already admitted that, oh yeah, it's gonna flood. So the question is, my council people, this $1.2 million grant that is for this particular lot here, does that include the repairs moving forward? Like, are we bargaining repairs into this moving forward? How are we bargaining we already know it's gonna flood, so whether it's gonna flood during phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, because we don't know when it's gonna flood. Jersey has been suffering a lot in the last few years, people are understanding this. So since we don't know if it's gonna flood next year, and we're only in phase 1, now we're destroyed through phase 1. Is that minus in that 1.2 million? Where are we gonna get that money back to redo what we already did? It's kinda like, to me, when I'm looking at this, just as a concerned citizen, I see a lot of jumping back and forth. I see a lot of sidewalks that's holding up grass. People are saying, we want grass, we want grass. You really can't put grass there if it's a flood zone. It's gonna be a big muck. It's gonna sink into the ground. So that's just what I'm seeing. I'm just concerned. Where's the money come to fix it? Is that a township problem now? Does Mount Holly Township have to figure it out? Is it gonna be a public works problem? Whose problem is it gonna be? I mean, I listened to Jeff talk about this park. The park over here was open. The whole basketball court fell. Did it not sink in, people, if I'm not mistaken? How much money did that cost? What engineer did that basketball court sank into the ground? I mean, that's ridiculous. And it was closed for how long? Kids running around doing crazy stuff because they couldn't go to the basketball court because it was in the ground with something in it. Because some engineer was paid God knows what, didn't do his job, or just, you know, everybody got a family to feed, I understand. So I'm just curious, you know that question? What's gonna happen with the money to repair it? Is that gonna be included in this $1.2 million, and what is it, measurable outcomes, prorated out, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now? Where's that money come from to upkeep it when it starts sinking?
I cannot speak to the maintenance costs. I don't anticipate the site sinking. If it's in the flood hazard area now, is it sinking?
I believe someone asked you early on and you said it would flood.
Oh, yeah, it will definitely flood, right? But I don't anticipate it sinking much beyond what the current location is.
I mean, we didn't anticipate, we're inland, right?
We do different designs for materials and items that are located within flood hazard areas.
I saw
Mill Dam Park is also
I saw
located-
that on
Yeah.
there, the GeoWeb and all that greatness,
Yep.
and I heard you say to Randy about the improved, a different layer of the GeoWeb, whatever you were talking about. But, even with all these upgrades with industry and technology, it's not gonna stop the water. The water is gonna come. Okay, so everything has a lifespan, everything has a shelf life, everything is going to get corrupt at some particular point. So I'm just asking, like, out of that 1.2 million, if the great flood happens, which it has happened a couple of times in Mount Holly, where we've had to have federal money come in here just for people's homes, rather than a parking lot, okay? So if that happens, and you and I are not, you know, we're just people here, you can't guarantee me anything. You can't sit there and guarantee me that's not gonna happen. You already said it's gonna happen. So your education and your experience and exposure already tell you that it's going to flood. It's just a matter of how much it's gonna flood, when it's gonna flood, and who's picking up the bill when it floods during the initial phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, because that's gonna be a setback. So how are we gonna get those extra funds to fix what we've already done? And this sidewalk, and I don't agree with the flagpole either, we have enough flagpoles. As far as the pavilion, I mean, you said multi-use for what? I mean, kids jumping on it, cracking their heads, jumping off it, I mean, what?
Picnic use,
Picnic?
you know.
Is it going to be covered or uncovered? People don't wanna sit in the sun out here, so.
The pavilion's a
It's gonna
shade
be-
structure.
It's gonna be shaded.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Okay, so maybe you can get rid of some of the sidewalks and keep the pavilion, maybe, you know? I don't know, but thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Arlene Pfeiffer, 494 Mary Street. Been a kayaker for a long time. I love that we're gonna get a launch. Our problem is now you're getting rid of parking. I have kayaked with handicapped people that are not gonna be able to cross Commerce Road to come over to bring a kayak in the water. We have an amphitheater already down here in Mount Holly. I don't know why we would need another one. And we have flagpoles that we can't even maintain at Veterans Park. They were terrible looking last year. I hate losing the parking lot there by Smith's, by our cabin, our historic cabin, because people park there. People park in that area to go to, the firehouse. I've gone down there, parked there, walked down Trinity Lane. We all know that Mount Holly is the head of tide. So on low tide, unless you know what the creek is doing, you're not gonna get out of Mount Holly unless we dredge the Oxbow. You know where low tide, you know Mill Dam is.
Yeah.
So on low tide, you're not gonna get by Robin's Nest. I've personally gone there with friends, we've taken chainsaws, and we have taken out as much trees as we can do. But if we're gonna do this kayak launch, which I think is fabulous, because since COVID, I have seen exponentially the kayakers coming out. There's a whole few other Facebook groups. Kayaking has taken off in Mount Holly. And not only do they kayak here, then they go see Stratosphere. They go see Village Idiot. They come in, we come up, we'll go wherever we are muddy and get pizza. It's been great, but in order to do that, we have to have better access, and I think eliminating the parking will be terrible for anybody that is handicapped. They're not gonna be able to get to that launch easily. They're gonna have to cross another road to get back in. But definitely our number one problem in Mount Holly is dredging that creek. And we used to dredge that creek up until 1956. It was dredged regularly.
Early 74.
74? 74. It used to be dredged. It's really terrible how I'll go out there and have to go in and cut trees out and just to get it passable. But it's a beautiful spot. We have a gem, and I've said it for years when I've come up here. We have a gem here. This Oxbow is a gem. People want to kayak it. People can go literally from Mount Holly all the way to the Delaware. And I have stopped at, there's a schnitzel place in Riverside.
Best of the worst.
The best of the worst. We've gone out there. They have a marina. They can't have any boats there, unfortunately, because they're tidal. And they have to dredge out also. But we've pulled up in our kayaks. We've had groups, 12, 15 people. We share the water with the boats. We go in Hainesport, but I love that we can come in to Mount Holly and we can use our resources here. Our biggest problem is we gotta be able to get to that ramp, and we have to dredge the creek. Definitely, and I really think this is a great idea. It's just those fine tuning of the people that know what our creek holds and know the history of our town. And having people come in to find our history is fabulous. I love the idea of that launch. It's just that it's tidal and there'll be nothing on low tide because we haven't dredged it since the 70s. Thank you.
Thank you.
This starts squeaking, I'm not gonna use it. Good evening, my name is Kevin Lee, 873 Rancocas Road, West Hampton. I'm an avid kayaker myself. Probably the only other person in here that spends more time on this creek than I do is John Anderson. I'm out there doing wildlife photography, I'm out there all the time. I come up into Mount Holly all the time in a kayak. My roommate, who I take kayaking, has been in a wheelchair for 38 years. Accessibility for this park. Sorry, you do the, you build parks, you
Yep.
do landscape projects. Quick question, who on your council, your business, whatever, is in a wheelchair? Anybody?
No.
Do you have a person that gives you any guidance? And not an able-bodied person, somebody with a disability that can actually tell you, that's great and it kind of meets ADA law, but it doesn't work. It doesn't, look, you can't do that with a wheelchair. You can't do that with a prosthetic leg and crutches. Do you have anybody that gives any type of?
Typically, so we coordinate with, one, we do review most of, if not all, the regulations pertaining to ADA accessibility. We also coordinate with manufacturers, specifically with the boardwalk system itself, right? We've spoken with them, and it's like, this is what you need to do to make that work with the turnarounds and that kind of, that orientation. And there are certain clearances that we follow, and we try to exceed them because they become very tight.
Yes.
If you follow the standard guidelines, which is, the turning radius is 5 feet at a ramp change in direction, right? And the ramps only need to be 36 inches wide. 36 inches wide is not adequate, in my opinion.
Correct,
So-
especially with some of the new power chairs and
Yes.
some of the different things.
Yeah, so, and I know there's new regulations in the works that are going to be wider, you're gonna have a larger turning radius for those individuals within a motorized vehicle. Well, I also take it into consideration because I'm a certified playground safety inspector as well. So we have to take ADA compliance into consideration with those designs as well, and that a lot of the times comes down from the manufacturer as well. So yes, we do take those considerations from others that have experience within these type of scenarios.
Okay, because I know that a lot of places, they will meet the minimum ADA requirement and that's it because it's cost effective. It saves
Understood.
money. Rising waters lift all ships. If you can do something better for somebody with a wheelchair, you're doing something better for a mom with a stroller and 4 kids. You're doing something better for an elderly couple that wants to get out. So anything that can be accommodated for a disabled person actually helps everybody. So, as well as Arlene, I do a lot of work with disabled veterans. I was in the military. I know that I have a lot of friends and stuff that have disabilities and stuff. We take them kayaking. A lot of times, we'll go somewhere and we put the kayak in, and then we go back to the vehicle and there's grass or there's mud or there's something. So you have to look at this individual and go, well, scoop, lift, and I'm gonna carry you. All right, we'll get you to the kayak, we'll get you in the water. So the kayak launch, you know, this town has needed one. I kayak with people and like, well, where can we kayak to get something to eat? Where can we go to get something to drink? Where can we go to walk around and enjoy, you know, Mount Holly's great. You've got the breweries, you've got the pizza places, you've got the history, you've got a couple of art galleries and stuff like that. The history here is amazing. Getting people in to see it, that's the hard part. Some of the parking, you can park 3 towns down and kayak up from West Hampton, Willingboro, you know, come around from Hainsport, whatever, get into town, come up and see the sights. Enjoy it, get in your kayak, paddle home. Great idea. Again, the big concern to me is accessibility for people with disabilities, wounded veterans, things of that nature. I know one of the concerns is all the walkways. I know it's a bit of an eyesore, but when you have somebody in a wheelchair, it does kind of help. and it doesn't have to be a concrete. I know that up on the mount, they have a soil retention system. It's this PVC, like corrugated black pipe, and then you fill it with gravel or something like that. It retains the material, but it gives enough of a solid base to get a wheelchair, a stroller, anything like that across where you're not sinking in. When it gets wet, the plastic stays firm, the gravel or whatever soil in between gets a little soft, but they're 2-inch diameter, it's enough to maintain mobility. Again, the Oxbow, I don't know how many people here on the council have ever hopped in a kayak and gone out on the creek and enjoyed getting out there and seeing the sights from the water. If you haven't, I encourage you to. The fox, the bald eagles, the owls, the hawks, all the things that you can see walking along the bank from a kayak is amazing. The flowers, the different types, you were talking about the different gardens that are gonna go in. The native plants that we have around here, the one young lady was talking about the rain gardens that she does. The native plants that we have in this area are phenomenal. If any of those trees that you're gonna take out, the big ones in the center, if they're native trees,
They are plums and,
if anything that's native and you can maintain,
oh yeah.
I highly encourage. Again, you get all the pollinators, you get the ruby-throated hummingbirds, all the bees and stuff like that. Anything that you can keep here that's native, that will feed our native wildlife. So, again, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. I'm gonna close that portion. Any questions?
No, it's not closed, he wants to speak up.
Yeah, one more. After these two gentlemen, we're gonna close it down, because we're gonna proceed with the rest of this meeting.
Well, first I'd like to thank Leo, ERI, all the township employees and everyone who worked on this. I know a project this is probably not the most easy thing to do, and it's always a balancing and juggling act that is very, as we hear tonight, compelling interests, ideas on how to work it, so I applaud you for working on it. I think the park will be a good addition to our system, and I think it would be great to have a pocket park downtown that can support our business community in the UEZ zone, as well as our community events. A few just rough comments, like I said, it's a juggling act. As far as like the Magic Kingdom slope section, I would cut maybe some of the trails down a little bit, so that there's a little bit more green space. The pavilion, I might expand the size a little bit. I see it's 20 by 20 for some of our township events, our summer concerts, up in Veterans Park, from the car show to the fireworks on that. That might be a little bit small if we're putting a band on that. I suggest like 20 by 25 or 20 by 30. Don't go crazy expand it, but just a little bit bigger if possible, I think would be beneficial for that. I was looking, maybe, if I might be missing it, so if I am, I apologize. Maybe a few additional AC outlets. One, if you're gonna have a band, you're gonna need some sound for that, as well as if we're doing a car show or fireworks or expanded Christmas celebration, you might need additional outlets for lights, lighting systems, as well as for vendors and food vendors. If it's possible to incorporate a little bit of additional outlets into the facility, I think it would help with some of our community events. But obviously the main thing is expand the pavilion just slightly to make it easier to host entertainment acts. Not a lot, but just a few feet, width-wise. I think the depth of it is fine, but maybe in a 5 or 10 feet width-wise would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. All right, next gentleman.
Good evening, David Viola, 166 from Concourse. Luckily, I've been the last 2.5 years using the creek, so I have taken advantage and gone by boat and gone by, kayak as well. Other people have gone, so there is, kayak does bring in people, it does invite. I don't necessarily agree with the plan, I'm really skeptical, because I don't know how you're gonna upkeep, you have problems upkeeping parks and everything else. One of the things, everyone here has mentioned great points. Money is one of them. You know, you haven't really addressed how much money. You can easily say 2 million, but that can go up to 3 million, 4 million. And then Maureen mentioned repairs, that's another thing. You can barely do repairs here or any other park, how you gonna address that? And are you gonna warranty anything? Are you gonna guarantee anything? Are you gonna make sure you come back and it's, you say we, you're not gonna leave and then abandon it? Or you're just gonna say goodbye?
Any contractor that installs the projects, right, they're on a 2-year maintenance bond for.
That's it?
That's a 2-year maintenance bond for the contractor.
Cause I'm looking at here, and I think John and the young lady here, we used, Bill's Bargain to do a couple of launching out there. So that was a possible launching place for kayak. As far as the park, you could probably get a couple of more ideas that they mentioned, and that would be a great thing. And take a look into that. Bill's Bargain, we did cross, as she mentioned, I went out there with my chainsaw, I crossed, cut down trees, we cut down trees. So there are different spots that are accessible. As far as that, I think we launched in that area, right? A couple of times. So that may make a good little place that you may wanna take as well. Because if you look at the stream is coming fully from that end. But from Bill's Bargain, it's going straight up, as she mentioned. It's important to look at the high tides and low tides. That I'm learning, thanks to her and John and other people. These are things that we wanna make sure that the town, now if you take a look, a video here, and it comes up, 1, 2, 3, hopefully. There we go, give a second. Well, when you want the video to come up, it doesn't come up. But it's the video showing the flood that's on the police station. So their points are really good points. That's gonna flood, that's gonna saturate. If you can't take care of the other parts, how are you gonna take care of that part? If we're having a problem putting in a bathroom, a $300,000 bathroom, it's supposed to be gonna clean itself, how are you gonna get a bathroom there? And then did you make an agreement with Burlington County parking? Because you're gonna have parking there, so you're gonna have to use the Burlington County parking lot. Are they gonna allow people to park there?
That's our parking.
That's the back, all the way?
That's our parking.
The whole thing?
That's our parking. They want it.
According to them, that's their parking, but that's fine.
No, that's our parking.
That's fine, if you say. So then you're gonna use the park,
In the township.
and there's nowhere else?
They lease it, it's theirs.
So where's the money come from? And if you have the park, it's our parking, and if we're gonna do a park like that, what is your projected study on it? What is your return on investment? What are you looking to do with it? Because this park is empty. There's a couple of parks empty. Kids don't come out and play. People don't come out and play anymore or do anything like that. So what are you really looking for to do with it? To bring in people? Then you gotta design it a little better. You gotta make it something that's gonna stand out. Not something that's just gonna be a park and say, oops, that's it. I mean, there's a lot of, I have here, but we'll save for another day.
Thank you.
And here, final thing, I know it goes in one ear and comes out the other, and you're gonna do whatever you want, so it doesn't matter. You're gonna, everyone here made a comment, and you're gonna end up doing whatever you want. You're gonna hire your own contractors, your own company, whatever, whoever your friends are, whatever it goes. So, I don't know what we have to say.
All right, we're gonna close the public portion. Thank you for your comments. Thank you, Neil, for your answering the questions.
You're welcome.
And so I'm gonna pass it to you, Tara, and then I'm gonna let the deputy mayor wrap it up.
Working. W-E-R-K-E-T.
Is it possible for, I know I've seen the plans going around on Facebook, can you get them sent to our township emails?
Yes.
Cause I know Kim and I were both like, I need our emails, so that would be good if we could have it for our email. And then secondly, we mentioned some trees being green.
Yes, I get it. And I'll show those to you here in 1 second.
Cause that's the one, and I know I've heard a lot of comments, the one thing is I know that less pavement and more soil with grass and plants and trees, that's more opportunity for rain to be absorbed, so that for me, but I was just curious which trees you were looking to remove for myself and for everyone
Alright,
else,
so
so I was gonna
there-
like do it this way, so they
Yeah,
don't.
that's fine. Okay, so there's a parking lot island that's located in here, right?
Okay, and this is Shin Cabin?
Nope, Shin
Wait,
Cabin is
sorry. Okay,
right
all
here,
right.
we'll
Perspective.
orientate you,
Shin,
right?
okay.
This is Park Drive right here. Here's
Okay.
the municipal building, over
Okay.
here, the police station, right? Donkeys is, I believe, right up over here.
So we got the Shin
Right,
Cabin.
and then this
Okay.
is
creek.
Rancocas Creek right there.
Okay.
So, this is the parking lot island here, right? You have parking around the exterior perimeter of that location, then you got parking on that interior island. There's 3 trees located in that island, that
Okay.
are in the greatest condition.
Okay, but
overall.
not.
Nothing on the edge was
Okay.
planned, those were all planned on being preserved. I know
Okay.
that there was a couple trees over here that had been removed, and then the ones along Rancocas Creek have been identified as being deceased. So we're removing those because they were dead. We're gonna keep the root systems in place because that keeps the bank stabilized, so we're not gonna pull out those root, stumps.
Okay, cool. I know this is a really nice tree, not particular, so I was just very curious of which ones you were planning on removing.
Right.
Okay. Oh, I'm finished, thank you.
Okay, just a few questions, I'll be fast, as I know. But, some things to ask and or even just things to consider. A resident had reached out to, and I just wanted to know, I saw that there's already been an increase in some benches. I think the original plan had 1 or 2, I think there's a few more, but I haven't seen.
This has not incorporated any additional benches, but that will be something that we can work into the final concept.
Okay, great.
As well as we'll discuss some of the additional comments that's been made by the public and.
Perfect, yeah, I just wanted to say it out loud because, yeah, it came in via email and I kind of agreed, I had thought of that. Can you clarify for me if there's any change in income regarding the county parking? We went back and forth a little bit, but I don't know where we landed, Josh. There is no change, so, yeah, okay, that doesn't affect that relationship. And then, a little bit to piggyback on Tara, we are removing some trees, I get that. But did you also see we're adding some as
Yes.
well? Okay,
It
so
is
net, we're not.
anticipated to put trees in.
Okay, so net, we're not losing trees in the end, okay.
No.
All right, great. Has there been any conversations with the local residents in regards to parking? Is this something that we need to consider? I don't spend a lot of time down in that little spot, so I don't know if that is affecting many people or residents parking there.
Not to my knowledge, has there been discussions with the residents?
There,
regarding
just
the
one,
parking?
so my sample size isn't great, but I just wanted to say, I asked if that has been a consideration. So, you think about that?
I believe it's a consideration.
Yeah, but it's not.
But I don't know how
huge
many,
impact.
I don't know how many residents
Okay.
park there.
I don't really think.
Because it's
Okay,
right
I
behind,
never-
it's
we're down there
right
like-
behind the apartment, so.
It's more business and.
It's more business
park
than
on their
coming in.
work and
Okay,
stuff like
because it
that.
could be, you know,
In regards to like the accessibility of the kayak launch, that's something we'll take into
That-
consideration to
yep.
figure out how to make that work.
yeah, that was my next point was, is it possible to take another look at where that, getting a couple of, accessible spots closer, even on this side of Commerce Street maybe, so at least we're not having people, with other needs having to cross that street. At the little spot. Yeah, exactly, just something to consider, yep. And then, another another consideration, I haven't heard any discussion at all or seen anything around the, more, sort of comprehensive, thinking of this comprehensively and maybe longer term in regards to, a sense of how we're planning to maintain, this is gonna be more of a burden, I'm assuming, on public works, have we kind of taken any, have we made any considerations or any sense of what that's gonna cost ultimately in the long run to add that to their, to their to-do lists, for the next few years, so that's something that I'd love to just have an understanding of. because it's, we'll make it and it's beautiful, and I'm so excited about it, but then, there's sort of ongoing sort of costs that we need to consider. And then, that was it for me.
Thank you. Wrap it up. Sure.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. First off, I wanna thank everyone. I know it's been a long hour, so there's been, good feedback from Nick and Jim, Randy, and John Anderson. Glad to see you, haven't seen you in a long time. Mike and Jeff, Maureen, and Kevin Lee, some good information about the ADA stuff, and Jim and Dave. A lot of different thought processes, but I think for the most part, people like the idea of a little bit more open space, and with the fishbowl that I'll call it, which is the downtown area parking lot, years way back, it used to be all grass there prior to the parking lot. And, I would think from a environmental standpoint that it would be good to have something that's not pavement there. Now, I have my opinion, and I kind of want to express that and also kind of summarize what I've heard this evening and see if this is something that kind of makes sense from a general summarization from what I've heard tonight. In my opinion, I know on Facebook there were two plans that were shown. I'll say draft A and draft B, and I'll use Jim Loeb's reference of the Magic Kingdom. We all thought that was pretty hilarious. It was Disney nut that I'm at, so I got that joke. But I don't particularly like the pinwheel design and the way that looks. I actually like the first draft, that it looked very much so like it belonged there, versus more hardscape in the way that it looked, even though that it was grass there. Lighting from a perspective of a downtown park, just knowing what we know, going through different parks and iterations of what we've done in the past, more lighting is better, not less, be it brighter candles versus more actual physical lights. Electrical outlets are a necessity, but at the same time, can be placed in the appropriate flood zone height area based on the past 10 and 15-year floods down there. Because I've been in Mount Holly about 20 years, and I've seen 2 floods that I can walk up to my knees down there. So it does happen. Nick's idea about the original stone is very cool, and if there is a way that that could be incorporated with some sort of historic signage and explain what it is, people like that stuff. People talk about what do we do to get people downtown to look at these new parks. Adding it to another stop with the historic walking trail would be a cool thing to add to it, as well as the wheel, which the design for that flagpole thing came in. I don't like the flagpole either. I think we have enough, nothing to maintain. The 20 by 20 structure. So there is a need for some shade for people since there's no shade there, but we can accomplish that by trees. I'll segue into UEZ for a quick moment. We are getting our stage delivery this month, so yay to that. But with that, all of these designs that we have in front of us, where we have an opportunity to inject need and purpose, we should be looking at a way to incorporate how we can utilize our newly purchased stage through the UEZ to use in these areas. So an example would be, for instance, the road which leads up to the bridge. In some way, shape, or form, with a design standpoint, there should be a way that that can be backed up or allocated in a way on the property that it can be opened up and used to its capacity to do performances, show movies, or etc. there. I don't think an actual need for an entertainment area is necessary, which goes the same with Mill Dam Park and others as we look into Ironwood Park. Let's utilize the investment we have. I don't think at any one time we have an event at all 3 parks at one time. Upkeep and dredging are 2 things that was a common topic that was brought up. Yes, they are concerns. I think upkeep, the more grass and open space that it is, the easier the upkeep. Grass is easier to replace, should it be saturated and die, versus floating sidewalk pieces and broken up pieces of hardscape. Dredging, I'd like to talk, if anyone wants to stick around, about the 1974 last dredging. If there's any history that you can provide to me, I'd love to know how that was done. I've been working for years with the Army Corps of Engineers to figure out how this can be affordable to help happen. And all of it comes down to the fact that there's just no money in the budget to do this. So I'd love to learn a little more about that. And better ADA conditions or considerations was a very good topic to bring up. I think it's great, and I do think that we should try to maintain as much as the existing vegetation that we do have on there. So, I mean, that's kind of like my takeaway from this, what I like to see. Obviously, there's a bunch of people that are involved in the decision-making, and obviously the public's opinion is very important, which you can see I wrote all over this paper to try to figure out what was a common denominator, what was repeated a lot. And again, like I said, dredging came up quite a bit in upkeep. So, you know, I'll do my best with the team up here to try to address a lot of these things. The plan is not final. It is fluid, which is why we have these meetings, to make sure that if people don't like certain designs or have certain comments, we want to make sure that what is done at the end of the day is done for the betterment of everyone that lives in the township. So, with that, I just, again, want to give my appreciation to everyone's time out this evening to come to this portion of the meeting, if you intend to stay for the rest or not, but I do appreciate it, and look forward to what the final product will be, with that.
Thank you, Richard. All right, thank you guys, everybody, for your questions, your concerns, and your comments. They're not taken lightly. Neil got a lot of notes, so he'll probably be following up with us in the near future to, you know, propose his changes or suggest his changes in regards to the original plan. With that, we're gonna close this portion, we're gonna move on and continue with the rest of our meeting. And next up, we do have appointments for the Recreation Committee. These are manager appointments.
I move to add 4 additional names of individuals who submitted applications to the existing
There's
names.
no vote for these, so these are all managers.
Oh, there's no vote?
No.
Oh, okay.
So this is the final list. Now, if you want to submit those names later, that's in the.
Well, no, it's the people who submitted
We
applications.
can look at them later, but these are all for right now, so. You can submit them.
How would you like me to submit the names of the people who already submitted applications? Did Mr. Brown, did you not receive the applications of the people who submitted applications? Okay, because all these names, I mean, some of them I recognize, they've served before on the board of the rec committee. None of these individuals submitted applications.
Oh.
I didn't see them. I have 4 other names of people who did. But why weren't they forwarded to us then, if we get the applications from other people?
So these are, manager appointments work differently. These are manager appointments, these are the individuals that he selected.
Well, okay, well then why do people check a box for rec committee and send it to us? I'm confused.
Because we got a consideration for the managers to act.
Okay. So,
So I would say this, send me the name that you, the 4 names that you want, and then they'll be up for
well,
consideration.
I'm pretty sure that Mr. Brown was already CC'd on all the applications, a lot of people that submitted. Yeah, why not? It's Ms. Kim Burkus, Pierre and Maureen Ford, and a lovely woman from Plainfield named Stephanie Hawkins, who I've never met. Thank you.
You can't, I'm sorry, say it again, you can't
Right,
appoint
Josh.
council members? So council members are not allowed to be on the rec committee?
They're allowed to, I can't appoint them myself.
How do you do that? How does that work? You got a loophole in the system?
We go against.
Don? City council will have to appoint the right.
Council can appoint people to the rec committee?
One council member right now.
No, I thought it'd be lovely to add more people to the,
He's speaking the mic, lady. Let's move on to the remaining individuals. And there's no vote, so the individual Stephanie Allen, Janine Bailey, Jordan Cagle, Tawana Frillo, Scott Stafford, and Shamika Wells will be added to the recreation committee. All right, so we're gonna move this on to the first reading of ordinances. These are the first reading only. We won't be taking any comments or opening it up to the public. That is saved for the second reading of these ordinances. So the first ordinance we have is ordinance 2026-1. It's an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. And do we need a first?
I'm sorry, who's gonna be first?
You're on first, yeah. You're first?
I'll first.
All right, we have a first one and first. Oh, second. We have a second. Roll call, please.
Oh, we have discussion.
Yeah, I have a question. Kate, do you, can you explain to me, just in like layman's terms, what this allows? What, because we've got a budget.
We certainly have a budget on this purpose. So this is adopted every year in every municipality in the state of New Jersey.
Microphone?
It enables our chief financial officer, the availability of the cap bank in terms of the cap. It's just a tool for our CFO. And to now adopt it would be handicapping our CFO.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a first and we have a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Astor? No. Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have ordinance 2026-2, ordinance vacating 10-foot alley of Milton Street, proposed block 90, lot 24. You have a first?
Take it first.
You have a first.
Oh, second.
You have a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, and the last ordinance we have is 2026-3, ordinance adopting an amendment to the redevelopment plan for the Creekside redevelopment area designed as block 38, lots 1, 1.01, and 2 pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law. Let me get first. I'll do it first. You have a first one, Mr. Buckler. You have a second? All right, I'll second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Astor?
Point of information, point of information.
There's no map attached to this. Is it exactly the same as the ordinance that came to us a few months ago? Or is there no changes at all? Okay, thank you.
All right, we have a question?
I have a question.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Are you able to give us just the highlights of what the change in zoning allows or does not allow? What are we ultimately accomplishing by changing the zoning here?
It's like, what's new? Like, what are we allowing that wasn't allowed before?
We're disallowing.
We're disallowing.
I don't recall our opinion, I think it's the same exact thing that was discussed at the question.
Okay, so no change since November.
Can I can give my remembrance if it helps at all? You know, I think the applicant's here as well. My apologies.
From the agreement amendment, which was, I took a look again this afternoon, it looks like the changes, update the use in the code to make sure that, the ability for, cultivating and or manufacturing cannabis is allowed, since that was not something that was allowed by the state of New Jersey back when the original, redevelopment agreement was created. Prior, that was illegal in the state of New Jersey. So in accordance with, applying to, what's allowed as business owners for the state, that is being added, but we also added the specific, use that states that, there is no availability to create any shops that sell it, or there's another level that I don't know what it specifically means, but long story short, it is the ability to grow, and then manufacture, which means like wrap it and transport it out to wherever it goes, be it another facility or out of town, as a permissible use at that location. That I believe is the only update. I believe there were also some verbiage that was updated as it pertains to some outdated language in the agreement from the original agreement. But for the most part, nothing has changed but the addition of that use. And I would also defer if there's more information that you may want to hear from. I know we have one of the applicants here in the audience. If they want, they can leave it up to the mayor to see if it's something that they want to do.
This is
I
first
know.
reading, so I can't do that. So, at this point, since it's first reading, so we already had the question, we already had the first and the second, roll call.
Ms. Astor?
No.
Ms. Gervis?
Yes.
Mrs. Falco?
Yes.
Mr. Benz?
Yes. All right. We have matters presented by the public. Members of the public are invited to submit comments during the public comment portion of this meeting. The council pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act will not publicly discuss personnel matters and may choose not to respond to comments made by members of the public during this portion of the meeting. However, the council will give all comments appropriate consideration and refer all individual complaints to the town manager or appropriate town representative for a resolution. Each citizen will be allowed up to 4 minutes to speak in order to allow everyone an opportunity to express their opinions and or concerns. So starting with the first row, and we go by row. Anyone in the first row will have their public comment. Okay, Louis.
Good evening, my name is Louis Lopez. I live in 9811 Drive. My first question is to your administration. I did an open request in December. If I could get the bill list for January 2026, like you want to say on the 16th, can I get the bill list after your pass? Can you give me a copy after the meeting? I appreciate it. I did open request it for the bill list.
I don't think we can share that until it's been approved, so. Yeah.
Not till it's approved, then you can have it.
Yeah.
Okay,
You can
okay.
send me an email tomorrow and ask for the bill list and I can send it to you.
Once we vote on it, can we just upload it like we do with the minutes?
Somewhat unusual.
Oh, okay.
Anybody can have it, they just have to ask for it.
After it's approved.
Yeah.
Okay, my second question is the sidewalk with Bill's Bargain. Who's in charge of keeping that sidewalk clear, like for wheelchair accessory? Who's in charge of that?
Which sidewalk you referring to, the one next to Bill's Bargain?
Yeah, next to Bill's Bargain, yeah.
Over in Cocos?
Yeah, when Cocos from the Middle East straight up. Who's in charge?
Up King?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Property owners.
Is there an issue?
I've been trying. My mom just want to go to the bagel place, and she cannot go. I said, Mom, it's not accessible for wheelchair. For you to do that, you have to go out in the street.
Because of the snow? Or
Yeah, because of the snow.
Because of the snow, not because it's like
No,
broken or?
no, I'm just curious if the township could do something about it. I really appreciate it. Second is, for your snow remover on the fire hydrant, who's on that duty? The fire commissioner or the township?
That's a good question.
I think it's a little different, all of us.
It's kind of the township's residents' responsibility to maintain that, and I think they mentioned it, I think you were there as well, at the fire commissioners meeting, that fire towns may do some type of contest to clean it, take pictures, but as far as I know, that's not done here, so, but it is the residents' responsibility to clear it out, like I have one in front of my house, that I cleared out.
I have 4 questions, 4 comments. For comments on agenda item, resolution 2835, Y on 39, Y and 44.
Repeat those rules.
Resolution 2835, Y on 39 and 44.
28 and something.
28 is a totally disabled veteran, having their property taxes taken care of. 35, Louis?
Yeah.
That's the police department's superior officer's contract, which has been now renewed. And what are the other ones?
The other one?
Y on 34, on 39.
39.
Comment on it?
Comment on it, Rich?
Yeah. During the last council meeting that we had in December, January, there was some confusion based on questions we had on council. And based on what I feel is best practice, we're going to rescind that appointment and then take a new, vote this evening with me abstaining on that to make
You
sure
were the
it's
solicitor.
best practices.
And, Matt, can I get extra 30 seconds?
Yeah.
I know it went past.
Yes, go ahead, Louis.
Okay. Well, I want to say thank you for the audit person and thank the councilman for the fire and ice. Tremendous and amazing event. Seriously, it's amazing. Second is St. Patrick Parade is coming up, March 7, 2026. It's the same day as my mom's birthday. Okay? And our famous hero, give me 1 sec. Give me just, yeah, figure skating is about Levito. She, go to the Olympic and for Mount Holly. She's a bright person. And one, yes, how could you add an agenda item to our section to our agenda item? Like for example, anybody from the press have a question, they any way to put that in a future agenda item? Like the freeholder or the county commissioner?
We'll look into it. We'll look into it.
Are you asking who can add things to the agenda for the council meetings?
Yeah, like add agenda procedure.
Oh, you want, you have something specific you
Something
want
different
to
that we don't do at this particular time.
Oh, okay.
So Louis, we can look into it.
Like a procedure to have, have like anything from the media that could come out and add any question.
Yeah, we can look into it.
And one thing to everyone from the last meeting, I appreciate for everyone who left positive comments. They love the 4K content. How could my Holly Township website can integrate my video into their website, to see, access its own editors, I would like, let everyone know what's going on. I don't get nothing, just upload and to see what's going on. I would like to keep it more useful. Thank you for having me as a guest.
Thank you, Louis. Anyone else have a question?
Arlene Pfeiffer, 494 Mary Street. I mentioned a few years ago, and this tree is still holding on because trees are awesome, but it's probably on a 30-degree angle on Evergreen Street. If we could have somebody, and I believe it's Township easement on both sides of Evergreen. It is a large 40-foot white pine that when it goes down, it's probably gonna take Evergreen and the whole neighborhood, the way that the electric is running. If somebody could give that another look. We've been doing some tree clearing, thank you very much, along the mount, but this one is uprooted, roots are coming up, and with the terrible winds we've been having, just worried that we're gonna lose power and lose it bad when it finally comes down. If somebody could just look at that, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in the first row?
Nick Sedano, 47 Garden Street. With regard to the appointments by the manager for recreation. I think, you know, like the rest of our government, there should be checks and balances, and I feel as though, you know, what Councilwoman Astor was asking, that shouldn't be something that happens offline. I know this is the way it's set up currently, but I think that should change so that council actually has a say, and that people who actually put in, you know, applications get consideration by council. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Second row?
Larry O'Rourke, 28 Museum Drive, East Hampton. Good evening, Mayor, members of Town Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Larry O'Rourke. I'm here with Mr. Eric Reiner, owner of J&E Gunworks in Lumberton. May I approach council and hand you a document?
Yes.
Thank you. On January 22nd, 2026, we completed and submitted a business registration application, a copy of which is included in our written proposal, which I just handed you. And as of this evening, we've not yet received a response. We are requesting approval to relocate and expand an established sporting goods, gunsmithing, and firearms retail business into 32 Mill Street here in Mount Holly. We have executed a lease contingent on township approval, and we believe this project would be a strong economic and community asset for the town. Eric, who's in the back, has successfully operated J&E Gunworks for over 10 years with a spotless compliance and safety record. He is a licensed federal firearms dealer, New Jersey certified firearms instructor, a former Fort Dix armorer, a U.S. military veteran, and a long-time Burlington County resident. As a serial entrepreneur, I bring more than 40 years' experience in business operations, marketing, and financial leadership. Our business model includes a retail showroom, professional gunsmithing services, firearm safety training, and sporting goods retail, all operating in strict compliance with ATF, New Jersey State Police, OSHA, and local zoning and fire codes. Safety, compliance, and professionalism are the foundation of our business, as is demonstrated over the last decade. We chose Mount Holly because it is a central location. The property allows productive reuse of underutilized commercial space and provides strong economic potential. Our market analysis shows strong demand within a 20-mile radius, and we expect to bring new foot traffic to downtown, supporting neighboring businesses and creating local jobs. Beyond economics, we are committed to active community partners. We plan to offer firearm safety education, partner with veterans, law enforcement, and first responders, and will sponsor local events. Our request tonight is straightforward. First, confirmation of zoning compatibility or guidance through any variance process. Second, support for a timely and efficient permitting review. And third, consideration of a public letter of support. We believe this project represents responsible business growth, increased tax revenue, local job creation, and community engagement, and we respectfully ask for your support. So thank you for your time and consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. O'Rourke. Thank you for passing this out. We'll need time to review as a council, but we can invite you and your group to the next executive session where you can present to us directly, and we can have more information to actually discuss moving forward.
Thank you, Mayor. One follow-up question, if I may. based on your collective experience, are you aware, and I certainly am not, of any existing ordinance prohibiting such a business establishment?
Not offhand, not offhand, I have to look it up, but I know there's some restrictions in regards to how New Jersey, requires for, shops like yours, but I have to look and see how they apply to my knowledge.
Okay, and we would commit to being fully compliant.
But we'll be in touch, we'll look to have exactly, probably next month. We have time, we have more than enough time to review this particular package and we can discuss.
Our contact information is in the proposal. Thank you for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you for introducing yourself and for being proactive and coming out and getting ahead of it.
We want to be good neighbors. Thank you.
I saw you at the UAZ meeting.
I remember.
He's making the survey.
Anyone else in the second row? Moving on to the third row?
Jim Logan, 16 East Lake, Lumberton, New Jersey. I just had a question. Who owns block 38, lots 1, 1.01, and 2? Is that the property on the corner of King Street and Washington Street?
Yes.
That's the one with the tax abatement? They don't pay taxes there, right?
We don't have the tax.
They're a pilot program, they don't pay taxes, correct? They get the property for free from the township, right?
Pay pilot.
They pay pilot, and they got the property for $1, right? And now we're gonna let them grow pot there and make a fortune, right? It's a neighborhood there, right?
They were environmental.
It's in a neighborhood though, right? It's not an industrial park, it's a neighborhood, right? Where kids live? Thank you. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that kids live there. Thank you, Rich, for your comments about the park and the design, addressing the upkeep, the dredging, and all of that. I really appreciate that. Appreciate you having our back. Rich, the appointment to the MUA, did you decide that, or did Tom tell you that you should rescind your vote?
It was my decision.
Tom, did you recommend that he rescind the
You don't have
vote?
to address Tom. Rich already answered the question.
Did the solicitor recommend that you rescind your vote? No? Okay. Well, just to make it clear, when it comes to conflict of interest and stuff like that, it's not whether you have a direct benefit, it's whether there's an appearance of direct benefit, which you did. You make money from the MUA, right? What's the salary for the MUA? It's $4,500 a year, correct? And you voted to give yourself that additional salary, correct? Yes or no?
This is not a Q&A, Jim.
I'm just wondering, you did. We have a young man here who works in public utilities, actually works in public utilities, which you don't, who applied for this position. I'm hoping you're gonna do the right thing and nominate him today. It's Evan Daniels. He's got way more experience than you've ever had. And that's it, thanks.
All right, anyone else in that particular row have any comments or questions?
Hello, my name is Eric, representing 10 Eagle Ave. I'm sure you guys voted on some resolutions. On topic of cannabis, I am seeking to start a cultivation and manufacturing facility. I've been working very diligently with the landlord, the property manager, and the other tenants. And I want to be respectful to the town's concerns, so a few things up front. This would be an interior retrofit, so no construction from the ground up. And it's represented to be more than 1,000 feet from existing schools, daycares, places of worship. It's also sharing the warehouse of Prolific Grow and
And a youth wrestling program.
Excuse me?
And a youth wrestling program too.
Jim?
Shares the building with a youth wrestling
Jim
program.
Logan?
Just so you know.
I was not aware of
If you
that.
continue to outburst, hold your thought. If you continue to outburst, I'm gonna have you removed once again.
Okay, just wanted to make that man aware.
Sorry, I was not
If I
aware of
hear
that.
one more outburst from anyone in the public, I'm gonna have you removed. Let this man finish his, he gets his 4 minutes.
Thank you. So yes, it does share the facility with 2 other manufacturers, Prolific and Love Grow. So we're trying to propose something that fits in the industrial area where we want to be within the zoning regulations. Our plan is phased. We start with manufacturing first, and then we go with a cultivation later. So we grow responsibly and stay aligned with the local requirements. We want to bring real local benefits, local hiring. We want to hire local contractors or neighboring contractors wherever possible. We want to support the local community as much as possible, donate, make events. I heard about this park and the concerns, and the flood concerns, and hopefully maybe we could sponsor or create an event where we could plant trees, native vegetation to like soak up the flooding, reduce flooding, anything we can do. We also intend to operate very responsibly to the environmental safety hazards, understanding the creek. Economically, the manufacturing phase, our first year, we'd be committed to the 2% excise tax for the township. So we estimate about 12,000 annually for the first year, scaling to eventually 60,000 annually for our final build out. And we hope that after hearing the park concerns, that maybe some of that tax could be contributed to the park's upkeep, maintenance, anything we can do for, bonus revenue for the town. On top of that, we would focus on growing Mount Holly's export market share, so we wouldn't compete with local retailers. We currently distribute across New Jersey, and we would honestly prioritize local retailers by giving them special product releases from our facility. That way we could bring customers from out of town to Mount Holly to shop within the town. So on top of that, we're not just coming with an idea, we do already have an established brand under different licenses. We currently supply to 100 licensed retail stores. That includes Mass Grown and Fire and Oak. And what I'm asking for tonight, hoping for, is just guidance. Can you help us confirm the local process, planning, zoning, building, any local regulation steps that we need to do? And could you direct us to a proper meeting so we can do this the right way, the correct way?
Yes.
And thank you.
Just one thing.
Excuse me?
Your name?
Eric Jang.
Eric Jang?
Yes.
Eric, what we'd like to do is probably invite you to an executive session.
Okay.
So,
Okay, yes.
If you have that, this is.
I do
forward
have.
To our township clerk. And,
I do have a one-page with a QR code to the business plan I could provide you.
I'm sure, if you have it.
I do.
Can you give it to
Can
the
I,
clerk, please?
can I go up?
Okay, all right, perfect.
QR code goes to the business plan.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. James, we'll set up, an executive session for you to present your entire business plan to the rest of the board,
Okay,
and then we can make a decision.
thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Erica, what is the name of your company?
Scarlet Gardens?
Scarlet Gardens.
Yes, after Rutgers. Thank you.
Anyone else in that room?
Now you know.
Anyone else in that row have any comments, questions? All right, I'm saying, does anyone else in the remaining rows have any questions or comments?
Jeff Eversmeyer, 203 Broad Street. I think I have some questions back to this park. I talked to the guy, and they can't raise the elevation of this park they're planning on building. So I guess we're stuck with what we've got. Long-term planning, I don't know who's in charge of planning in this town, but we also own the bank now. We've owned it for a number of years. We took it off the tax rolls. There was a problem. I guess there was asbestos, because I see asbestos signs on it. So we bonded money or got free money to fix the issues at that bank already, because I saw some more work being done.
Yeah, the work restarted.
How much did that cost, and where did the money?
I don't know the cost.
Can I get that for the next meeting? And where it came from?
We'll see.
We'll see. Okay, so since you're gonna build, you're gonna have this bank, and what's the bank gonna be?
Courthouse.
Courthouse, okay. So when you have a courthouse and you have people coming in for court, you need parking. So there's a limited amount of parking space there, so I guess you're gonna take municipal parking or some of the parking that's used down below. We're under where all this parking is coming from, because we're gonna get rid of parking in Mount Holly for open space, so that could be a little bit of issue. And when there are events going on, the people are gonna move into the county spaces to park, because they have to go somewhere to park. So it seems like, maybe we need to sort it out and have a better plan as to what we're gonna do when we get done opening this courthouse. Hopefully it'll be sooner, because we just moved, I thought West Hampton was doing our court cases, or our court appearances, was that?
No.
It's always been Lumberton?
It's been Lumberton for a while.
Okay, good. I was told it was West Hampton, so I guess I'm wrong with that. I guess, I don't know what percentage of the cannabis, what percentage of our properties have been put into cannabis businesses in the last 5 years, since evidently we get 2% money from them. So I don't understand why we keep expanding cannabis throughout the township. And since now we're not opening more shops, we're just making more grow centers to make us more money. What are we doing with all this extra money that we're getting in? Not only do we get taxes and stuff, but we're getting all this revenue. Do you have any idea what kind of revenue we get per year from all these different things that we're building?
We receive revenue. I don't have it offhand, but we receive a significant portion the last few years.
So is that the reason why we're expanding it so much, for more revenue, so we can improve the township?
We need revenue in the township, correct?
I understand that.
Right.
But we'd also like to see where it's going to and what we're using it on. Because, as we know, this park here that we spent $2 million on isn't being taken care of. If you'd like to go down and see me, I'd happy to go walk through there with you. And now we're talking about making other parks and spending money. I just don't understand how you guys can spend money on things and then not take care of the things you already own. Monroe Park, I haven't seen nothing. Some ladies complaining about drugs and problems down Monroe Park. I don't know whether we've rectified it with cameras or anything, cleaning stuff up. We hired more public works guys to do all these extra jobs, or we're gonna have designated people who's just gonna do these jobs? Because we're expanding all this work for our public works guys. It's not fair to them if we got 10 guys and we still have 10 guys. We need to do something. So a little common sense, I think, and logic, and I just don't understand where you're coming from on some of these things. Like building a park in an area, I guess we've already got money for dredging the Oxbow Creek, we're gonna get money for that. It's in our plan, we're just building the park. Have you looked into it? How much is it gonna cost, so we can actually use the park and drop kayaks in there?
Dredging, you're talking about the cost of dredging?
Yeah, is it gonna be done? We already budgeted, but,
Like north of 2 million.
so we have that in our.
That's not in the budget.
So would we build the park before we dredged, or after we dredged? Would we build a park before we dredge, or after we dredge? There's no sense building a park if we can't use it.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Next.
Randy Rothmel, 33 Union Street. I just wanted a couple clarifications on the resolutions. 2026-34, you have a resolution authorizing the sale of the alley off of Milton Street, but I'm just wondering, how can you authorize the sale when you haven't even passed the ordinance yet? Because it's only been the first reading to vacate that 10-foot alley. It seems like it's an opposite order, but that's just, I'm just trying to understand how you can have the resolution to authorize the sale before the ordinance.
Wait, let's see.
Ms. Roth, no, that was already done last year. That authorizing the sale was done last year.
Okay.
And we've already received bids as well.
Okay, but the ordinance you have there is for that same area, the ordinance that was introduced tonight was for that same alley to vacate it.
Yes.
Okay, it just seems like it's opposite order. I mean, it's not a big deal, but I just was trying to understand the order of that. The other one is, resolution, 2026-38, approving the fee to Limo to, develop the MS4 infrastructure map. Has that map been already developed, or are we just beginning the process? Is this a fee to begin? Beginning, because this was, you had 2 years to do this already. The rules came out in 2023, you had 24 and 25, that map, infrastructure map, was supposed to have been done by the end of December 2025, just FYI. I know a lot of towns are out of compliance, but you haven't even looked at it until now, so you had 2 years to think about it and start the process. I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in those remaining rows?
Couple of things. One, I think a lot of the problem,
State your name.
Michael Rothmel, 33 Union Street. I think a lot of the problems with what's going on tonight stems from the fact we don't have a master plan. We haven't had one for 8 years, and we're 8 years out of compliance. Couple of things. One, the Bill's Bargain lot and that lot on King Street was presented as an urban or development zone to put in shops, like a shopping center. And now we're putting in a grow facility. And the thing with real estate is location, location, location. There's two places. You have, on the last page, you have the custom cannabis operations at 10 Eagle Avenue. That's appropriate. That's in an industrial park with Spellbound, everything else. That's where you should have it. You shouldn't have the gateway to the town from the new improved hospital coming across a warehouse, which is gonna have fencing and security. That's not the way you make a gateway to the town. And you really have to think hard about whether that's the place for a marijuana grow facility or a shopping center that would attract people. I mean, it's just, it's not well thought out. I'll say that to be respectful. Second thing, we've had a master plan recommendation that this creek is the economic driver for the town. And instead, we could have the UEZ putting away money to dredge the Oxbow and look for that. Instead, we buy a stage and $100,000 toilet or $300,000 toilet, whatever we do. Again, there's no forethought in planning on what's going to really help this town as an economic driver. I don't think a $300,000 bathroom is gonna drive the economy as opposed to dredging the Oxbow. And if you had $500,000, $400,000 in UEZ money, there's matching grants out there, and you could probably get substantial money to get the money to dredge it, if you had vision and a plan, instead of just going on like this. And again, the same thing, I don't know that a gun shop is appropriate on Holly when 2 blocks away we had a murder in Mill Street, in Millbank Park. That doesn't make sense. What makes sense, I think, is restaurants and things like that bring businesses to, bring people to the town. That doesn't seem like an appropriate use for Mount Holly in light of our recent history. Two other things I wanna comment on. One, I walk my dog in any weather. There's gotta be a shoveling ordinance. There are people that don't shovel their walks, there are businesses that don't shovel their walks, and there are churches that don't shovel their walks. There has to be a fining thing. And the other thing that would make sense is if you did a survey, if there's people who are disabled, who can't shovel, you could register them and create a fund for the people that don't shovel, and maybe have the people hire people to shovel their walks. Because it's not right when people spend 3 hours shoveling their walk, and then you have all these people, that able-bodied people, that don't shovel. And it's dangerous. And if you have a zoning code, you have a construction office, you should enforce your ordinances. And I'm sure there's a shoveling ordinance, and to ignore it completely would bring money to the town. How about that? You know, that's something that's important. And the final issue I would like to address is the apparent sexism on the board. I had great hopes in the beginning of the year, but what we have now is we have the gentleman on the left refusing to appoint the women on the right to anything. And it smacks of sexism, and it really stinks, and it's discrimination. I know Kim wanted to be on the rec committee, but Josh says no. Tara wanted to be on the planning board, no. So I think it's ridiculous that you just discriminate against the women on the township council, and you really should look into that, because that's really bad policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else?
Ford, 117 Grand Street. I don't know you, but we don't need no more pots. No more pots. Okay? If you wanna do anything, let's get some community service type offices where we got for kids and for individuals that's trying to get an education or something. A lot of people can't go to the library, but we got a lot of buildings out here that are empty, that can be utilized for the community. So that's just a suggestion. Talking kind of fast, but I'm upset. I come to these meetings and I try to provide a service as far as blending in with the community, doing things with the community and everything like that. I've put in my application 3 times and have no interview whatsoever. But individuals are getting spots that don't even apply for these things. So that's the reason why a lot of people don't even show up to these meetings. Because why should I show up to these meetings and I want to be involved with the community, but yet I'm not given the opportunity to be involved with the community? Okay? I'm really upset with that. Okay? I try to go to every single event, I try to participate in stuff, and I'm just frustrated on the fact that I wanna be more involved with trying to help and make this town much better, but nobody gives me the opportunity to do that because the individuals who get picked, they don't even put in an application. And that's totally wrong. Okay, I'm off my anger side, okay? As far as, the snow thing, we do need to have an ordinance type deal, okay? Every time that it does snow, I go to 2 particular houses that are senior citizens that cannot go out and do their own deal. So I do it myself, okay? There should be an ordinance where you clear up some of the snow and give the opportunity for individuals who have pets or just wanna walk or whatever, give them an opportunity to do that, okay? Is there gonna be any activities for Black History Month?
I don't see any schedule here in Mount Holly at this particular time, but I can check with recreation.
Okay, because I feel that, during these times that we're going through, I don't want Black folks to be forgotten, okay? And, you know, if it wasn't for, those individuals that fought in all these wars, I wouldn't have been a chief of the United States Navy. So I would like to see, if possible, something that deals with Black History Month for the pride of individuals. Not only Black folks, but of color. Okay, we have a real good history as far as a Black fire chief and the police and everything else. Why not show the town that we have these individuals that are sacrificing their time and their lives to provide services for this town? If we get more involved with taking care of our people, you're gonna see a lot more people coming out to support this town. And, the last event that we went to, Maureen, what was that last Maureen, the Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice was really nice. It was cold, but it was really nice. And I wanna give thanks to the police. They were out there, they were doing their job. I totally appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wood.
Good evening, Rosemary Loeb, 322 Washington Street, Mount Holly. Just a couple of quick questions. Louis had asked about Resolution 2026-39. Mr. DeFalco decided you all have decided to rescind the action you took appointing you to the MUA board, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Tonight, it's my understanding that these appointments that were made to the Recreation Committee, those are manager appointments, did I hear that correctly?
You're correct.
Okay, and what does that mean as opposed to the other appointments that happen through council?
That the manager selects the individuals that's on the record.
So are those
You
choices?
don't vote on them.
Are those choices reviewed by anyone on council?
They're reviewed by the manager.
Okay, if I heard Mr. Brown correctly, he said that he cannot appoint a member of council, is that correct? Okay, so is there a mechanism by which that ordinance could be amended where the manager could invite a member of council to participate in an unpaid role?
There's a mechanism to have a liaison from council on the.
Have you extended that option to be a liaison to the member of council interested in serving on that commission?
It's not my prerogative to do that.
Sorry? What is the mechanism for that?
Among council.
I'm sorry?
It's among council.
It's among council.
So
You
council
can
does,
appoint a liaison.
so has council discussed appointing a liaison? Do we currently have a liaison?
No, not at this time, not this year.
Do you intend to appoint one this year?
We do.
And who makes that appointment? Is it a group decision, or is that the decision of the mayor?
Decision of the board.
To the entire council.
Okay, I mean, it seems, I wanna kind of piggyback off Mr. Ford there. It's interesting that you have one member of council that's having to undo something where they appointed themselves to a position that has financial gain, and you have two members of council who have requested to serve on a board that receives no financial compensation and seem to have the door shut in their face. Like, I don't seem to understand why that would be the case. I did want to say thank you for everybody with the fire and ice. I heard everybody had a great time. It was a little too chilly for me, but I also heard the chili was delicious. I did have one other follow-up question. We got a newsletter several months back. How often can we expect to find those in our mailbox?
There's one coming up.
So that will be like biannually then?
Yeah, probably on the season.
Give or take, okay.
On the season.
I know historically, the town had a position where someone put up things for Black History Month, posts about notable members of our community of color and the accomplishments within our township. That would happen before we had a PR firm. We actually had a person that was dedicated to that. Is that something that the PR firm is gonna take up in that absence? Because, I mean, I don't see any posts from them about, I don't see an abundance of posts like I once did when we had a dedicated individual to that. Is that something we intend to spend that money properly through our purchase of their services?
That's something that they can be instructed to do.
Excellent. I would love it if you looked into that. I think it would be a solution to Mr. Ford's concerns, and it would keep us all up to date. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
I forgot
Your time is up, sir.
No, I forgot my phone.
All right.
Hi, David Biella, 166 on Conquest Road. Wow, a lot of people have really good points. I don't know if you're gonna address it or really look into it, but some of what I heard and what I had coming in is, how do you appoint nominations? Do you do it among two people, one person? How does that work? And if so, where can I find the bylaws or the rules and regulations so I can read it and understand the process?
The municipal code.
The 360?
Yeah.
I've been looking at that, I haven't found it, it's very lacking, so
Nice stuff.
we're gonna move on from there. So, because it seems like conflict of interest, a lot of people sit on 2, 3 boards or committees, and meanwhile, the ladies or someone else, or Maureen or myself or Jeff or anyone else puts in applications or puts in saying, and we don't get anything to nominate it. But there are other people that get nominated, I don't know if it's nepotism, relatives, people you know, but it's interesting how that works. Now, the other thing, as far as the gun issue, I would like to, we're a family-friendly town. With all due respect, Lumberton has 2 or 3, I'm looking at it here in the computer, so, you know, maybe he's leaving it because it'd be interesting to find out why he's leaving, why he wants to come into Mount Holly. Lumberton is really close, it's not that far, Hainsport, same thing, but, okay, moving forward. As far as cannabis is concerned, I remember the first time I came in, you said only 5. And then we went in, and then you came back and said, well, it's a state law. So I looked it up, called the state attorney general, and they said they can, you know, put in as many as they want. But you say you're gonna keep it low. Apparently, you're not keeping it low. And as far as the effects of cannabis, it has brain and cognitive effects, Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, mental health risk, cardiovascular health problems, developmental risk. And let's go here. Addiction, impairment. So how are you gonna address these problems as they come up and more? They go on and on and on. I'm not sure how you plan to address these problems. And as far as Bill's bargains, you know, I'm pretty curious, why don't you just rent it yourselves? Why doesn't the town rent it and make it a rec center for the kids so that we can have things, or even for senior citizens, even for veterans? Why don't we rent it instead of having cannabis come in? Cannabis is only 2% on the taxes, and according to your And I wish you would hand that out a bit more so I can review it and go through it. But I read somewhere that one of them, and you have Prolific coming in already too. So that's another one. And I have the video here on Prolific, and they have a lot of different, products. It's not gonna service the town. Now, as far as, cannabis coming in, you have to really limit it. We have to diversify. We're a family-friendly town. We're not a thug town. We're not Trenton. We're not Newark. We're not any of those. We're not the Bronx. We're Mount Holly with a history and historical. Please, think before you take action. You know, these are, people present a lot of ideas. You should really put out there what you're gonna do and what's gonna be. I believe that one of the cannabis places owes you money, or owes the town money, and they call it up, and then they're gonna make payments, arrange a payment arrangement. So somehow that's not working out with one of them. So, how many more are functioning in that way? Now, I have a lot more, but I'm gonna leave it there for now. I appreciate it, but I hope you take it, absorb it, and think about it, and not just one ear out the other.
Anyone else? Are we gonna close this portion? After this floor, we're gonna close this portion?
Unfortunate, 2 more people.
How many?
2 more people, myself and Jim. Maureen Taylor Ford, 117 Branch Street, happy Monday. A lot going on tonight. First I wanna start out with, this board supposedly represents knowledge, age, and youth. There's a single point of failure here. So, I'm just curious, if everything that is emailed to you has to go through Josh Brown, every single thing, then when is Josh Brown supposed to interface with the people in this community? If everything you tell me to email you, email me, is gonna go to the administrator. If the administrator is always on recess because he cannot talk to people in this town, he will not can't, he refuses to have conversation with people in this town. He refuses to email people in this town, okay? And then when I come here, you know, Mayor Banks, you always say, oh, I'm gonna throw you out, whatever. You got a lot of bass in your voice. You always got bass in your voice, but you always talk about you're gonna throw somebody out of here. When I go to the county meeting, the respect is unbelievable. I come to my own town, I look at you, look how you acting. Right, look at you, I mean, come on.
This is not gonna be.
No, but it's still my time, right?
I'm gonna give
Thank
you your
you. So I'm
time,
gonna
it's not
finish.
gonna be a back and forth
I'm
in
gonna
regards to
finish,
just
it's not a
criticizing
back and
people
forth,
out of
I'm
love.
saying what I wanna say, this is my comment.
So just
I'm
please get
making my
on with it,
comment.
please.
So
Thank you.
if you take my time, I'm gonna take it back, okay? Back to this, single point of failure, you're constantly saying email. If your township manager is not getting back to the public, okay? I saw the article, I saw the article that Nick put, Josh. I saw your email. Your emails are not appropriate for a township manager. Sir, they're not
I told you
appropriate.
not to contact a professional, cause it costs the town.
Okay, so when did you tell him you're gonna interface with him?
At the public hearing.
At the
we just
public
had.
hearing?
We just had, and they answered all the questions. Did
They
not?
answered all the questions. Okay, very well. Moving on, my husband made a statement about, people needing to be shoveled. As with the internet society, a lot of people on the internet saying they need a shoveling, right? My husband is damn near a senior citizen, he's 60 years old, but he's out there he's shoveling for 80-year-olds. What are you guys doing? Mayor Banks, are you out there shoveling for your neighbors? What are you guys doing? Moving right along. We are consistently moving away from the natural relevance of this town. 1795 or 92, whenever Mount Holly became the county seat, what can we say about the difference between that and now? Are we still the same community? Are we still striving for the same when they made us the county seat? When we took it away from Burlington City? Maybe we need to rescind it. Maybe I should go and let Governor Sherry know, we need to rescind this back. We don't deserve to be the county seat. We are supposed to be the prime example for the entire county. We are a laughing stock. I go to other township meetings. We are bottom feeders here, and no one seems to care. No one seems to care. The Black History Month thing, I'm black, I'm Scottish, okay? I have family in Scotland, I have family in Ireland, I'm a female, and I'm an Afghanistan war veteran. And there's never anything done. Rich, when you came on, I asked you, where's the VA committee? Where's the Human Service Committee? All these resolutions tonight, all these resolutions, Mayor Banks, there's not one on here. I've been Doc Johnson's been asking for 3 years about their human services. I only started asking about a year and a half ago about the Veterans Committee. So where's the priority, people? Where's the real priority here? I don't know. Do you prefer people not to come, obviously. Dinner time, you gotta go, whatever the situation is. What is the real reason for having these meetings if New Jersey League of Municipalities says you don't have to answer a damn thing? So what's the purpose of me and all these people coming here asking anything when the state says you don't have to answer? You know what the DCA told me? You just need to get voted out.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Ford. You have a nice night. Jim's the last one.
No, or I said two
Yeah.
people.
We're gonna need to decide Jim's the last one.
Oh. All right, Audrey. Ms. Audrey.
Yeah, for Jim.
Jim Rhodes, 322 Washington Street. I also want to piggyback on some others' comments, how great the Fire Ice Festival was, Audrey did along with Mill Race, and especially all the public works personnel who made sure all the spaces were cleared, kept everything flowing for that, and their yeoman's work in getting the streets safely plowed and cleaned. It must not have been easy on them the last few weeks with the bitter cold and all the snow. So I think they should be acknowledged for all their hard work and efforts over the course of the last few weeks. And it's good to hear some new businesses popping up in town. I think new businesses are vital to helping keep our healthy community and bring people into town for events and activities. I think the gun safety club or store, sportsman store would be a great addition to our community, especially with all the corrections officials, county sheriff's officials, and others in town. We can maybe get some of those individuals to do some of their shopping and purchasing of their work-related items here in the community, and as they're shopping through the shops, hopefully they'll stop and support our other local businesses. I think it'll also help our local community and residents, protect themselves with safety, as well as with the sportsman aspect to help, people with recreational activities. We have a great use of the creek for fishing, especially when we do our fishing tournament. I think that can complement and support that. I'm sure that's something that maybe we can get them involved with our youth fishing tournament, as well as all the other great activities we're doing. I think it would be a great asset to it. So I encourage you to help cut through some of the regulation red tape to help them get up and running as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Audrey, I'm sorry. You be last one.
Audrey Winsinger, 2 Washington Street. First, I would like to thank everybody on council and the township for coming and helping me above and beyond, and my committee for Fire and Ice. It is very welcomed and needed. So, and the fact that Public Works was out there and that we got help from the county did not go unnoticed. So thank you. The other few things I would like to ask about is I see a resolution regarding the UEZ project for the advertising and marketing funds, and I thought that was already voted on. So was there something wrong with that, or is this something different?
No, this is something different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was a recent approval with the last UEZ to add a 3-year fund to help fund marketing in town for UEZ businesses, which incorporates the billboard, possible new signage, ideas, maybe direct mailing, trying to help do more than just the billboard.
Okay, not what I consider the $300,000 events.
Completely different.
That's fine,
Yeah.
that's fine, it was
Yep.
hard to tell from, and I didn't get the chance to look at the packet. Okay, that's fine. And then the resolution on the Mifflin Street alley, I see it was offered to adjacent landowners, and I was just trying to clarify, just educate me if you could, on if that's how it goes when the township has property that they would like to dispose of in some way, that is how it works. You offer it to
adjacent landowners, which would make sense.
Yes, if the property is, not in public use, it has to be offered to adjoining landowners.
Okay.
Unless it's a governmental entity, then we can sell it to them directly.
Understood,
Yeah,
okay.
And that was the case here. This was.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then, lastly, is I would very much love to know, if the status of the historic preservation ordinance is moving in some sort of a forward trajectory. We'd love to be able to see a commission, meet at some time soon, but I know that there's pieces that have to go in front of it. And I was just wondering, the next piece, which I thought was the ordinance, where we are.
Audrey, we are working with Rowan downtown, and we're looking at setting up a date the week of the 23rd for a town hall of this month downtown at Rowan downtown to go over that whole thing. So stay tuned, we should have it.
Like
We did a couple reviews of the
public hearing
ordinance.
kind of thing?
Like what we did with the planning board, but more in depth.
Okay, got it. Okay, terrific. All right, that's wonderful news. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so since Ms. Menzing was the last, we close the public portion. Thank you guys for your comments and concerns. They're noted. We're gonna move forward with the rest of the agenda items. And starting off with our consent agenda. All items marked with an asterisk are considered routine by the council and will be approved by a single motion without separate discussion. If a council member wishes to discuss a consent agenda item, they must first ask questions about it. If the member still wishes to remove that item from the consent agenda, it is taken off and voted on separately. First, from all council, do we have any questions of any resolution and anything you want to vote separately? Let's start with Rich.
I'd like to take resolution 2026-43 and remove that from the consent agenda. And as such, I'd like to make a motion to table said agenda until such time the requesters can be before at the executive to fully explain their entire business plan.
And removing resolution 2026-43.
So we just need a motion to table that.
Table that. So for this motion, for this resolution, 2026-43, we need a first to table. We already have a first, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second. Tara.
Sorry.
Tara's second. All right, and so we'll call on this one, right?
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. DePalco?
Yes.
Mr. Guy?
Yes. All right, so 2026-43 is tabled until they present at an executive session. All right, now moving on, any other items that we want to discuss or any questions on?
Yeah, yes, so could we please pull, E, which is 2026-32?
You want to vote on this separately, right?
Yeah. And discuss, okay.
32?
32, please. M, number 40.
All right, 40,
That's it for me.
okay.
I would like to pull, 31. And 33.
33?
Yes,
She wants to go on.
yes,
Is that it?
yes.
Are there any questions in regards to these particular ones that we pulled?
Yes.
All right, what are your questions?
Sure, happy to. Question on, I'll start with 32.
32.
If, again, if you could, maybe Tom, maybe you can just give me the highlight on like, what's this now, this step in the fund volley of affordable housing commitments?
So we were actually very fortunate that Fair Share Housing did not, file a challenge to our affordable housing plan, okay? But they did submit a letter to the court saying, well, we don't challenge, the current need and the prospective need, but we want the town to fine tune that. And so what came of the fine tuning was the consent order, which they wanted adopted last year. And we've worked with them to fine tune that, and all this does is authorize me to sign the consent order, which all solicitors are doing for their particular matter. So we're in compliance with the state.
Yep, understood. That's my only question.
That's the only question,
Mhm.
32? Okay.
Mhm.
Do you still wanna pull that, or do you?
I do not need to pull that.
This can go in 32, 32 go in. Yep.
I also had a question on, 2026-40.
40. So this is the renewing of the prolific.
Okay, so I just want to get clarity, was Prolific the one who was not paying their taxes?
Correct.
And we voted at a prior meeting to pull their license, correct?
Correct.
So, what's happened since then?
They have paid Q1 and Q2 of, Q3 of 2024. They have a payment schedule, that they should be 100% caught up by May of this year.
Okay, and was there any background on what happened? Probably like a year plus in arrears?
They called it an error on their part, is what they said.
Okay.
We're just, I don't know, because I wasn't there, so I'm just going with that.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to know what their narrative was, you don't have to say it's, you don't have to swear on it. Okay, I would like that pulled.
We still want to pull the
Yes,
down
please.
separately?
Yes, please.
May I ask, do they pay any penalties for non-payment?
I'm serious.
Yeah, there's nothing in that.
There's no mechanism.
All right.
Just out of curiosity, for the renewal for 2026-40, are the provisions in the resolution, should they fail to make their payments, in which then this reverts back to their non-payment status prior to this resolution?
It would be, and this really goes to Kim, sidetrack the question.
Can we use the mic, please?
We would do the same action again.
You would vote to rescind. Are they currently operating? They can't be currently operating, right?
They're operating one aspect of their business to the best of my knowledge, but not this manufacturing aspect.
Okay. So when we rescind, they can't, because we rescinded, okay. So they're, yep, understood.
Questions answered in regards to that? You're still
Yes.
pulled? All right, this is still being pulled, 40 is still being pulled. Sarah, you have a question in regards to?
Yes, okay, resolution 32, wait, no, sorry, not 31. So, it's my understanding we're gonna, have a shared services agreement with Lumberton Township for courtroom facility use. And I saw the dates, we're agreeing to, or Lumberton Township has agreed to host Mahali's court days from January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2028. Will it be that long until we're in the new building, or are they just making it that long so that we have that agreement?
The disaster review agreement provides that, in the event we have a different facility, we can on 30 days' notice.
Just terminate.
terminate.
Okay, all right. Thank you. We can include that then.
So you want to include that?
Yeah.
Okay. And you had 33.
Let me find that notes. Probably just a format. So, am I allowed to read some of the financial totals here? I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so for the temporary budget part, just because, yeah, it's a bunch of numbers, it all looks kosher, but for mayor and council, it was $7,875, and I'm just wondering where that figure came from, because we each get paid $4,000.
It's
a year.
35%.
I'm sorry?
It's 35% of great last year's budget. All of them.
That's what the temporary operating budget.
It's 35%.
Okay, cool, and then the other thing too, that piqued my interest, Sorry. The one other thing that piqued my interest was at the bottom of the same page. It said Historic Preservation Committee, other expenses, $6,020. Our Historic Preservation Committee isn't officially formed yet and hasn't met because we're new to the ordinance. So what, is that just a projected number or?
35% of last year.
Could you elaborate?
Speak up.
Not sure how I get it.
Are we not?
Is that like money set aside for the Historic Preservation Committee that just?
That was the letter to the clerk.
Tara, what I would,
Okay,
what,
professionals and-
yeah, I was just gonna say, most likely what that is 35% of the total we paid for, the ordinance review, historic, review, what we're doing in preparation for the town hall, next week.
Okay.
So, because it's temporary, we have to approve a 30% or 32%, whatever it is, that's what this is. So whatever we spend, we may not spend it all this year, but because we spent it last year, we have to assume that it's being spent this year, one way or the other. That's all that is.
Okay, that's helpful, thank you.
Any other questions?
No, thank you, I'm good with it.
Still, you want to keep it? All right, so we only pulling 40.
Yes.
I think it's 43 was
Oh, you pull 40 and then we table 43.
Yeah. All right, so resolutions 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 41, 42, 44, and 45, along with the bill list and the department head reports we can take in one motion. Can we get a first?
Motion to approve.
We have a first, can we get a second? You?
Second.
She wins.
I did it first.
Yes, I don't even talk once, then I really.
So we have a first and a second. Roll call please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Ralph?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And resolution 2026-40, resolution reviewing the support of the local cannabis licensee, Prolific Grow House. Can we get bring up for a motion, can we get a first?
Motion to approve.
We have a first, we have a second,
I'll second.
we have a second. Roll call please.
Ms. Astor?
No.
Ms. Perkins?
No.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. It doesn't pass.
We understand that we might not be able to do that.
That is the ramification.
So, before we move on, do we want to take a moment to have a conversation? If there's unaware, I did forget about that. I know it was a typo, which essentially means that the resolution fails and doesn't pass. But what, manager had just stated. Yeah, we might, if we.
So they owe us 1/4 of last year?
How much is left, like?
Yes.
They're on track to have everything completed by May of this year,
By May
correct?
of this year, they have their payment schedule, date certain, they've honored it to date, and
So if
I'm
this-
pretty sure if
It runs, so if we leave it as is, it runs the risk of not continuing their agreement, right? That's what they're talking about the back pay.
Okay, what are we looking at as far as, what do you think it is? Doesn't have to be perfect. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000? Or what?
It's
Okay.
it's a lot.
Okay, so that's at risk.
that is.
That's
So-
at risk of not receiving that.
So the other side of that equation would be we let them, so what, the opportunity then
So
would,
if
sorry,
we
let
leave
them,
it, if we leave it as is, then we run the risk of them defaulting.
They won't be able-
Not,
they won't
not,
be able to-
not giving.
Before pursuing another avenue to collect, which I prefer not to.
not to. So the, alternate though, who play this out is we give them their license, maybe I should have asked them deeper questions about this, I apologize.
Yes, that's fine.
We give them their license and then we can continue to reconsider if they then start failing again later on this year.
So basically, if they were to not honor their
Default,
agreement,
yeah.
or default on their agreement, what we could do, come May or June, another resolution to rescind. Correct, Tom? That's what we can do. Okay, so now,
Better do to pay me like 4 more times before people.
Right.
So I could let you know in April.
if we don't receive it,
Something's going wrong.
Okay, great.
So-
Sorry, I wish we had talked this out further.
Well, and you
Yeah.
said rescind, I mean, rescind their license.
Yes. we
like
can vote
we
to
did,
rescind
we already rescinded, like we did.
We already rescinded it.
We don't rescind their license, we're not rescinding their license.
Rescinded their
We're
letter of
rescinding
support.
our support.
Letter of
Rescinding our
support.
support.
So basically, to obtain their.
So if it's the CRC that technically rescinds their
Yes.
license, right?
Yes.
So if we vote tonight to reinstate, how quickly does that happen? Because it took a long time for them to
Yes.
rescind it.
The only thing consistent with the CRC is they've been inconsistent in terms of having their meetings. So I don't know what their next meeting schedule is. The meetings that they say they're going to have, they don't have, and so I would think at the, March meeting.
So right now, they're gonna continue to not operate through at least probably March,
On,
even if we say that,
on the manufacturing side.
on the manufacturing side.
So, with that, should we bring this back up for another vote?
I'm okay with bringing it up for another roll call if,
A motion to reconsider, a particular resolution B 40.
Okay. Need a motion?
There's judicata on this issue, so if you, motion to reconsider 40 and vote again on this.
Okay. So, our council, you have a motion to.
you're going to move to.
Motion, thank you. A motion to reconsider 2026-40, and for another roll call. So we have the motion, you have the first? I was first, we have a second. We have a second. We have a second. All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Astor? No. Ms. Burgess?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I think that's the last remaining of the consent agenda. Now, the last duty is the appointments to the municipal authority. And I'd like to nominate Mr. DeFalco. And that's the first, we have a second. Chirp, chirp, chirp. No second? All right, so we have a first, we don't have a second. So we can't bring it up a little more. All right, thank you. All right, so we have matters to be reported by the township manager.
Sorry. I move to nominate, Evan Daniels to the MUA. Do I have a second?
I have a second, I will second.
Okay, we have a first, we have a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Burgess?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
No.
Mr. Banks?
No. So that has not passed.
I move to nominate Deborah Harris of Hainsport to the MUA. Do I have a second? Deborah Harris of Hainsport. Yes, she's submitted.
Harris.
Deborah Harris. Do I have a second?
I will second.
We have a second, and roll call, please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Burgess?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
No.
Mr. Banks?
No. Anyone else?
Well, I have a, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So there's been some, chatter and some emails going back and forth in regards to whether, somebody who sits on the board needs to be a resident of the areas within which the MOA is served. So we got some information, I think, Sherry, you said you thought so.
Yeah, I had emailed you.
Okay.
2 weeks ago.
But, after doing like a bunch of other digging, I don't see where that's codified anywhere. Has anybody, Tom, have you checked into that? Do you know?
The member of the MUA body does not have to live in one of the 5 towns served. It's been, historically, that's been the practice.
Yeah.
And more recently, it's been to develop that. But our ordinance doesn't make it specific to a particular town.
Okay, can this is probably an opinion, so you may or may not be able to answer, but is it generally elsewhere? Would a commission like that require that those people reside in the serving areas? So like somebody from California, for example, we could appoint somebody from anywhere onto the MUA, is that correct? In theory, we could, I mean, who would wanna do that, but I get it, okay. I think, am I able to, I would like to move to codify that those members serving on the MUA board need to reside within the districts that are served by the MUA.
I second.
I would be in agreement, but I believe that we have to do first introduction to ordinance modification to it.
Sure.
So
It's very
I would-
simple language, you have to live in the MUA district to serve in the MUA board, period.
What would be the next steps, Tom?
Roll call, we have first and second.
Request to put that on the agenda?
Yeah, Mayor, is it, would you like us to prepare an ordinance to amend, the code to, as Ms. Burke suggests, could we introduce that?
Let's go with the ordinance, the first reading.
Mr. Jones is gonna be paid in March, by the way, lives out of
No more
district.
comments from the public portion is closed. Thank you.
You nominated him, and I'm leaving. You nominated him, and he's gonna collect money. He doesn't live in town. He's gonna collect money next month, and you don't care. It's your friend, but you nominated. Scumbag.
Yeah, and I do think it is relevant that if someone's gonna be on the body voting on decisions that affect the MUA municipalities, someone who doesn't live here and doesn't pay taxes shouldn't be making decisions for the people that do, you know? And I do understand that Mr. Jones, has purchased a home in permanently, and, you know, I think it's only fair, that decisions made should be for people that live here and experience the consequences of decisions on the board. Oh, yes. Okay. Absolutely.
No.
I received the consensus of council that we prepare the ordinance and get it to you and Josh. I understand exactly.
That's all we need right now, right? Yeah.
So that's good.
Okay. I just wanna comment that, I understood that there would be 2 seats that we would be nominating in the MUA, given the fact that I was told that his resignation had been coming, and it hasn't, so arguably we should have 2 spots, but if we can fix this, then we can move on.
Understood.
Thank you.
What just happened?
I couldn't hear.
That was.
Yeah, I know, you can hear everything.
She made a motion to, and I second, to have an ordinance that requires that a person who sits on the MUA board must live in a municipality served by the MUA.
But obviously, our solicitor needs to draft that ordinance, so we will read it, we'll do the first reading at the next meeting.
Following that, I move to nominate, Gary Bratz to the MUA. Do I have a second?
Oh, I'll second.
Gary Bratz.
RTZ. No, that's okay.
All right, so we have a first, we have a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
No.
Mr. Banks?
No. I think you should go off the nominations until we get rid of this.
Okay, well, actually, we still have 2 alternate positions on the planning board. I move to nominate Jeff Eversmeyers to alternate position on the planning board, and Gary Bratz. Do I have a second?
I will second.
There are 2 alternate positions. There are 2 alternate.
So there's 2 alternate positions.
But they're open,
But we are,
and they're sitting,
we also
they're
have
open. We can't
already
nominate?
voting members.
We can't nominate.
I'm sorry, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Tara can make a motion of anything that you would like.
To amend the
Can't
agenda,
hear you.
it's
Oh,
not
okay.
amending the agenda to
We're
add,
doing
that's not good.
appointments and they were missing. So, okay, I move to amend the agenda to add appointments to the 2 alternate positions to the planning board. Do I have a second?
Second.
So she has a second. So roll call, please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Burgess?
Yes.
Mr. Falco?
No.
Mr. Banks?
No.
Whoa, whoa.
Race
Oh, dare you.
Race
Thank you.
Also, yes, I do have one more thing. I move to amend the agenda to make 2 appointments for the 2 individuals that applied to the environmental committee. Do I have a second?
Yes, second to amend the agenda.
We have a second to amend the agenda.
Yes, thank you.
So let's do a roll call, please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Burgess?
Yes.
Mr. Falco?
No.
Mr. Banks?
No. Thank you. Any more?
Jesus Christ.
Let me look at my notes.
Well done.
I'm good for now, thank you.
Okay, you're good for now. Thank you. So no more appointments.
Thank you, Terry.
Tonight.
Thank you, Kim.
The appointments can be done in the next upcoming meetings. So, moving on, so we have matters presented by our township manager. Josh, you have anything to say, sir? Nothing? Thank you, sir. All right, our town solicitor, Tom? Appreciate it, thank you. All right, starting with our council, Ms. Burgess.
Okay, I'll try to be brief, I'm sure everybody's probably hungry at this point. Fire Nights, huge thank you to the organizers. I believe it's now a sort of partnership between Memory Race, Arts and Preservation, and Main Street Mount Holly, another fantastic one. I don't know, is this our longest running, event in town? It's always amazing, I love it. And thanks especially to the police and the public works and all the volunteers and the organizers who were out in the freezing cold. But I wasn't able to leave my post at the Alps, so I did not get to see it, but the pictures just smiling, freezing faces. So thanks to everybody for all the work on that, and it's a tough one and it's an amazing one. I would love to just clarify my vote or my perspective in regards to the rezoning of the Creekside redevelopment. Tonight was the first reading and I voted yes on that. I want to just explain a couple of things. Number one, this was sort of put on the agenda. I don't know if you guys pulled the agenda down from the website, but it was put on incredibly last minute. We hadn't looked at this since December. I have a day job. Not that that's an excuse, but it was a little bit in between work calls and raindrops, trying to read through and get myself refamiliarized and get an understanding of what that meant and what that rezoning does. The reason that I said yes is it gives us some time without completely blocking that business from moving forward. We would lose another month or another 2 months. But I need time. I need to go back over this and get an understanding of exactly what the implications are of this rezoning. Is it a little bit risky potentially? However, I again don't want to also thwart the ongoing of a local business and a local property owner. So I need a little time with this one. I don't think it's fair when this stuff comes up at lunchtime the day of, and then I'm kind of forced to go back through a very incredibly long and complicated document with obviously cannabis is a hot button here. And I want to make sure that I'm listening to everybody and their fears and their understanding and their worries about town, but we have to balance that with, I also don't want an empty spot sitting over there continuing to get glass broken and, all of that. So it's tricky, so I appreciate your grace with this, more to come. Regarding committees, I just cannot understand why we're not leaning into those who apply. Where there is space, we should be filling it. There is a ton of you come out, more than the last 20 years I've lived here than ever, and are interested, have a lot to say, and these boards and committees are the perfect place for you all to dig in and get involved and use all of your amazing backgrounds, talent, experience, and we're just leaving this all on the table. I find it incredibly frustrating. Personally, this isn't like boo-hoo about me at all, but I would love to be a part of the rec committee. I think it's very obvious that a lot of what happens in town that I think could use improving. A lot of it boils down to, I think, making sure that there are resources and places and spaces for our youth to come and learn and do things, and be active and get involved and learn new things. And it can't always be a basketball game. There are actually non-athlete youth in our town that love to maybe read, learn a language, do arts and crafts. I think that I can lend a very different perspective and a new perspective, that has been lacking over the past few years, and, that I did not know that it was a procedural issue. I can't imagine why somebody wouldn't just call that out and say, thanks for your application, but I actually can't nominate you, but that's fine. I do understand if it's a procedural issue, maybe we can fix it. But there's a dozen more people in the same position as me with the interest, the time, and the background to lend themselves to these boards and committees. I mean, we talked about dredging today, we talked about the park, we talked about impervious surface. We have basically at this point, non-functional environmental advisory committee. We are down to 2, if maybe 3 people on that committee. Why would we take this all upon ourselves and not have a functioning, smart, that committee could absolutely be helping us look for grant money, check out federal programs for doing the dredging and all of that, and we're just letting this all sit on the table. I find it incredibly frustrating. This isn't, believe me, you join a committee like that, it's work. This is not something that is an incredible amount of maybe fun. This isn't like a present you're giving a friend or somebody that you know. This is hard work if you're doing it right. So anyway, a little heated about that, but let's see if maybe we can get to this again next month. It would be great if we can lock in that next presentation on the master plan and the historical updates on the 23rd, because it's actually pretty soon.
The week of the 23rd.
And, yeah, it's pretty soon, so everybody's calendars are probably really crazy. So let's try to get that locked in and communicated as quickly as possible. And then the last thing is, Rosemary, you stood up and talked exactly what was knocking around my brain in regards to Black History Month, and I only have seen, I actually have never received one of the newsletters, the Bridgeton News myself. And I've grabbed them in the past. I think they're coming out on average once a year, if that. And we are paying a PR partner. That would be an amazing thing for them to be leaning into and to do a little bit of research and be posting things that honor and support the Black community in our town. And it's not something we should be talking about on February 9th. Maybe we can be talking to them instead of the Bridgeton News. Maybe we could be talking to them about posting things about Pride. They could be doing that research now. So anyway, there's other things to celebrate. There's other months. There's our veterans who come and are active community members. I can't remember your magical title, Maureen, but embracing the veterans and honoring them. And there's a ton that PR agency could be doing for us while they're not working on our Bridgeton News. And that is it for me. Everybody have a good night and thank you for coming out.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Sass?
On that note, I move to appoint Kim Burkus to the rec committee as a council liaison. Do I have a second? And this is an unpaid position. Do I have a second?
I can second myself.
It's unpaid, you're allowed.
Right. Roll call? Sorry, stepping on your toes, Chris. I'm sorry, I'm writing. Okay, no, I was stepping on his toes. Do I have, I second.
But I thought we jumped in nomination.
We learned something new about this process earlier in the meeting, so I think it's warranted.
So do we understand
Okay, I move to amend the agenda to make an appointment to the rec committee. I move to amend the agenda to appoint someone to the rec committee. Do I have a second?
I mean, I don't have a problem with adding that to the agenda when we were voting on the agenda, but when I asked you last time, in terms of getting anything else, you said no. So why are we doing this now?
Slipped my mind, because the information came up earlier in the meeting, and I didn't want to interrupt the ordinances and the resolutions. I figured I'll be patient and wait until my time to not interrupt the meeting. Is it a problem to just move to amend the agenda to vote on appointing a council liaison? It's something new that we learned tonight. And if you want to vote no, you're free to vote no. Do I have a second to amend the agenda?
So, all right, so I will allow to amend the agenda. The last time for tonight to amend the agenda to add Ms. Burkus as a liaison, or add, to vote for the to update the agenda to add Ms. Burkus. So we have a first and we have a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks? Mr. Banks?
Be better.
Yeah.
At this point, he doesn't have a choice.
It's already on film.
She has the rules.
It's already on film.
No, you should.
Yes.
It's already
Oh,
on
3 to 1, well done. Did he done?
Right.
You don't wanna budge? Chris? I said yes.
Okay, thank you. We couldn't hear you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that this town is going to benefit, if you have seen the application that Ms. Burkus Mrs. Burkus, filled out, she's been fingerprinted and background checked by the state. She already works with children. She has amazing ideas, and she's the most ferocious, energetic volunteer I have ever met. So if there's any one person that would be the most valuable to help with summer camp, et cetera, it would be him. So thank you for that. Also on that note, there were some wonderful people that filled out applications, and it really breaks my heart for the 4 years that, well, actually 5 years that I've been on council, that I see people looked over and over and over again, and it's often the same people that come to meetings and are volunteering in town and just want to be involved and help. And it would be really nice if we actually started taking their desire to serve a little more seriously. It makes me sad. And I know like all the people that have been appointed to the rec committee are lovely people. There was one person who I think recently moved here, applied to the rec committee from Plainfield, and I checked out her credentials from her amazing resume, and she was doing amazing community work in Plainfield, New Jersey, and I thought, wow, that's someone who this community could really use. And I'm sure someone new to the community, the best way to get to know a place that's new that you move to is to volunteer and get involved. And that individual was overlooked and not nominated. I don't even know who she is, but her resume was amazing, and it's a loss that she wasn't appointed so that she could serve this community. On that note, I'm gonna go through a few things.
Are you going to nominate her? Or are you going to make a nomination? Did she only
Oh,
nominate?
no, I can't, I can only nominate you as council liaison, we can't appoint
Understood.
presidents, we can't appoint presidents.
Okay.
Your nomination
Okay.
is unique.
Okay.
So anyway, but, don't stop applying, and hopefully some of you won't get through. Sorry, I have a lot of stuff notes to go through as we were going through. No, and as far as the cannabis warehouse situation, or growing, at King and Washington, I actually, approve of cannabis, I use cannabis, I like it, it's very powerful medicine, but proper planning is really important. I actually think that a retail space would be better there, because retail space brings foot traffic. We do have a lot of cannabis, I think we're maxed out, but for me, it's about, when you go visit a town, what brings you there? Like, it's like, oh, let's go to Mount Holly and see all the cannabis warehouses and law offices and insurance companies. Like, you want retail and restaurants and cafes and things that are interesting. So every time we're looking at these things, I think that, like, what would make me want to go visit someone else's town, and then ask that same question to myself as if I didn't live here. What is gonna bring people, and also what is attractive to those of us that do live here? What's gonna have us go downtown and be excited about, whether it's a restaurant, cafe, a place that offers some kind of an experience. And I just don't think that an intersection in our downtown is the best place. Eagle Avenue, Shreve Street, someplace out on the outer fringes would be much better suited, because I just think this town is a little gem, and I still see so much potential. I think someone brought up cannabis revenue. I did look our most recent bill list. We got $43,000 in cannabis tax revenue in December, so we're doing pretty good with that. I think it was Mr. Eversmeyers who asked about that. And then with the Shin Cabin, that whole park, I'm gonna call it the Shin Cabin Park, that's my name right now. I didn't realize that we had the opportunity to actually give our own input. I really wanted to let the residents say what they had to say. But I do really think trying to use
native trees, plants, and grasses, things that thrive in water, you know, like willow, because there are plants and trees, shrubs, grasses that actually soak up a lot of water, so being mindful of what we plant there would be really great. And I think more grass, lots of permeable surfaces, no less sidewalks and concrete, although at the same time I have to thank the people that came. Mr. Lee, like having different people come to speak from their different perspectives is very helpful, because someone in my life spent their entire adult life in a wheelchair, and I never thought about there's little nuanced things that we could do, as you said, to not only make it accessible for wheelchair users, but for a lot of other people that you wouldn't even think about. So I hope that in the plan we can incorporate all that so that it's best utilized by everyone, because once it's done, it's done. So thank you for everyone that gave really great, valuable input. I think that plan could be revised and reworked in a way that makes everyone happy. And I do think that lots of grass and soil instead of asphalt and concrete will help absorb water. Yes, it floods, but better to have grass and trees than concrete and asphalt, because concrete and asphalt can absorb flood water. And I think just having a park downtown would be really nice. Also, I did also learn about the newsletter. We are paying Thomas Boyd Communications $4,000 a month, and I'm sure everyone would love to have a newsletter and maybe incorporate them into some social media posts as well for Black History Month and other wonderful things. And I think that's it, taking all your time. Thank you so much for coming, and I really appreciate it when everyone comes and tells us whatever they have to say, because sometimes even in making critiques, criticisms, and stuff, we learn, because we can't know everything.
That's here.
What's going on?
There's something blocking the bay.
What's
One
that?
of the vehicles was blocking.
The vehicle has to
Oh,
move.
Lord, okay.
We're good, we got it squared away.
Thank you. Anyway, so thank you and have a great week.
Good evening, everyone. Again, thanks for coming out. A lot of notes as usual. A lot of the stuff was already kind of reviewed by Kim and Tara. The one thing that I have written down here that I'd like to see if we can get, Kim brought up a lot, and we have talked about it. Maureen, thanks for bringing it back up at this meeting. We're all very busy, so apologize. But if you can, Tom, take a look and see any neighboring towns about the VA committee and the human services with the sample ordinances. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look at. Yeah, just something so we can look at as reference, so we can see where we have to go for that. That'd be awesome.
Rich, there used to be an ordinance like in 1980, 80, and 90, and 95.
And yeah, I think Tom says he has one, but we're gonna take a look at it, yeah. Yep. And I'll just say, at the end of the day, I know a lot of people are upset with, perhaps sidewalks and whatnot. What I'll say is, it's always nice to help your neighbors when you can. Our public works really busted their butt with what came down the pike. We had snow and ice and rain and snow and ice and rain. And I'm not sure about you, but I think as soon as I had an opportunity to get out and shovel out my apron for the third time, I had to go out there with a pickaxe and like an actual metal shovel. So it is rough. I do think maybe it is a great idea. I'm not sure how it is feasible without having liability assessed to the township, but maybe a nonprofit can create some sort of fund to help people with some kind of waiver in case someone slips or falls. The biggest problem is, I'll just say this, working in insurance from like 15 years or so, if you are so kind and help your neighbor because you think it's great to shovel the driveway and the sidewalk, it's great. But if someone walks on that sidewalk after you shovel it and there's ice on that, you're liable for doing a bad job. So is the homeowner. So there's a lot of hesitation people to do things like that. So that's where a good liability insurance for your home, and also a nice waiver in case someone wants to help you out, goes a long way. As insensitive as that is, it protects you and it protects everyone around. So just keep that in mind as we do this. This is not a comment to kind of talk about how you should not help your neighbors. It's just an awareness piece to make sure you're aware, and why sometimes if the township is asked how come we can't help with a particular sidewalk or something, we can't do it because we're reliable for if something should happen on that sidewalk. So with that, I'll end there. Thank everyone for coming out, and I'll toss it over.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, council, for all your comments. Thank you, the residents, for all your comments, and questions and concerns as well. We appreciate it. We have a lot of notes. But also too, just to reiterate, we did have a major snowstorm in the last, first one as big as it was in the last 10 years or more. And we did have a lot of support from our neighbors, helping other neighbors, which we appreciate, because the township is only limited to work on the township properties. But like I said, everyone busts their tails off to do what they can to clear the snow, including myself, including other family members that I have in this particular town that cannot shovel their snow. So I appreciate everybody that helped their neighbor help someone, and we need more of that because there's still some sidewalks here that still probably need to be shoveled. But like I said, there's a liability issue even for yourself if you used to go up there without permission and things like that. So just gotta be careful and aware of those particular things. Thank the organizers for Fire and Ice. It was I guess appropriate weekend because it was pretty cold, so the ice pretty much stayed frozen. It didn't melt quick like it normally does. And all the vendors and everyone else that helped and contribute to that, we appreciate your help and support with that as well. I know our next big event is going to be the St. Patrick Parade, so hopefully we'll see everybody back out. Hopefully our weather will cooperate a little bit better this time. And with that, our next meeting